Monday. Happy Monday, everybody. I guess
Happy Monday.
depends on where you are. So some of our friends are on Tuesday already. So I hope your Monday was grand. We've been binge watching Traitors.
The Traitors is a competition reality show, and it just makes me stupider every time I see it. But I can't stop.
Well, because it's impossible to not want to see Alan Cummins play the role he was meant to play.
Yes,
like he was born to play.
He's the host, and he absolutely loves it, and he is flourishing in the role. It's just wonderful. So Dale keeps pulling out his like Scottish accent. No.
I'm just rolling his R's.
Yeah.
The way he rolls the R's so magnificently, and dollars.
Yeah, he can't really pronounce dollars.
$50,000. It's very funny. But yeah, we've been binge watching that, which has been taking away from our feature film. Although we tried to get into The Rip.
We tried to watch The Rip, and it did not finish.
We DNF'd that. Yeah. The writing was ridiculous.
Fucking horrible. I actually
explaining acronyms through the first like 15 minutes.
Yeah, I know.
Like defining acronyms. What's that stand for?
The exposition was so like it slapped
Bad.
you across the face
It
the
did.
entire first 15 minutes of the movie. I had to look it up because I was like, well, man, it could have been a cool script, but this director's really fucking it up. And then I went and looked it up, and it's the writer director.
Look,
So I have no idea what happened there.
I can't imagine what he's had to deal with in terms of notes. But
well, he's really successful, man. He's a writer director of like I don't know. This is like his 6th movie or something.
He's doing Ben and Matt.
He did
and another, like the rest of the cast was
he
dope.
did Smokin' Aces. I remember liking that one. But that one's kind of like Madcap, and I think that's probably where he belongs. This guy.
Lee and Stacy and Delicate and Our Scientist. Archival Raccoon.
It's good to see everybody.
Bobo's here and D the OG.
Are we only talking about the
Feldballing.
lively deposition?
We're gonna kick off we're gonna kick into that.
Somebody was talking about you on Reddit.
Someone's talking about you on Reddit.
No, nobody talked about me on Reddit. They said Dale Wheatley.
Sometimes people talk about me on Reddit.
It's really great. Somebody was like, hey, what content creators are reading the depositions? And your name came up like 3 times.
Funny thing, because you're the one reading them.
Oh yeah, I know, but it's your channel, and so I feel like
it's not my channel. We're not gonna do this. We're not gonna have this conversation.
You don't want to fight.
It's a 50-50 channel.
You don't want to fight in front of everybody.
If you left this channel, you think the channel would continue?
Yeah, it should.
Well, I'll get like a her. I'll get a blow up doll, or what was that one with what's his name? Ryan Gosling.
Oh.
Lars than the real girl.
Yeah. It wouldn't make much of a difference, to be
I'll
honest.
just plunk her there and then like put some AI beside it. Mm-hmm. No, Angela.
You in a sock puppet?
I would have to start completely over with an entirely new, beautiful face. Yeah, Lee, I'm so famous. I'm the most famous guy.
I think it's really great. I think it's wonderful that people are recommending your content. I was hoping that when we were reading these depositions that it would be useful for people, and it seems as though it is. So.
Well, what's funny is, we actually had our biggest day on YouTube. Our biggest day on TikTok, we had like 4,000. Our biggest day on YouTube to date was the other day. And we did, on that live, I think we ended up with like 1,100 or
what?
Something like that.
Did we do anything cool?
It was the Blake Lively read.
Oh, I was like, are we just sitting here doing this shit?
But we also got the first, we got like 4 new subscribers, which is, we rarely get subscribers while we're live.
Oh.
And we got 4 new subscribers. I was like, oh, look at that.
Look at you counting.
Look at that.
We're inching forward. You said Ryan Reynolds told you that when you
wait, my story's not finished.
When you reach 1,000 subscribers, he's going to buy you a house.
Yeah, we'll get to that some other time. But it was like 4 new subscribers, right? And then I was like, oh, that's really rare. And then as the weekend went, it was like, oh, one's gone, another one's gone.
Oh,
we lost all 4 of them.
Are they the same ones?
I think they realized that we are like, see, we're. I don't want to call myself pro Blake Lively because it just seems like a strange thing to put on me. They don't like the side we believe.
Yeah,
or they don't like that we believe.
Wouldn't they know that when they subscribe in the first place? I mean, we're pretty obvious. It's not like I'm
know what
keeping it
happened.
close to the chest or anything.
4 people left. It felt like an exodus. I was like, what?
They did the old Irish goodbye.
Yeah,
They just split skis without saying anything.
not a word.
No, that's rude.
Cosmic didn't finish the rib either. It's
Dude, I
fucking
wonder,
bad.
Cosmic, what scene did you stop watching it? Because for us, it was when they were having like a very uninterrupted, very focused conversation while there was like drywall raining down on them from hammering up above.
not even noticing it. It looks like something out of a fucking bad Disney ride, you know? Like because they were supposed to be, I don't give a fuck about spoiling this. They're supposed to be like chopping into the walls looking for money.
Yes,
up in an
like
attic.
a stash house.
In a stash house in an
But then
attic.
they're having a conversation. They're like interrogating the person below, and like nobody flinches as like hammer sound and drywall keeps falling on them.
And it's like so
an absurd
staged.
amount too, like the ceiling's actually gonna fall on them.
Yeah, it's an absurd amount. Like it looks like a pound of sand comes out of the fucking ceiling multiple times, and it's just like they're treating it like it's waterfalls or something, like
One of my favorite
natural
things.
environment.
I'm a big fan of Bill Hader, and sometimes he likes to talk about when he was a PA in the like action movies and shit.
Yeah.
And how they would like just put him like up above on some scaffolding and like have him be the person who drops the fucking whatever has to like fall on the actor.
The hay.
And so I just imagine the whole time I was watching that there was like some PA up there like trying to be really quiet and like scattering fucking sand on them.
There's like a first AD going, sand. More sand.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, sand by the couch. All right, sand in front of the couch. Oh wait, I'm sorry. I said I'm sorry. Sand behind the couch.
Do they have a little walkie-talkie? Do they do that?
Do they?
A little CB radio?
Yeah, they could
do
talk to
one
them.
of these, like squeeze the
They
buttons.
could,
on the
yeah.
side?
They're in like Video Village and they're just like, all right, give me left couch sand, right couch sand. Anyway,
Is that stage left or stage right?
it was fucking terrible. Bad movie.
Yeah.
It got no tiny pineapples because it's a DNF.
Yeah, we don't rate the DNFs. I don't think that's fair.
Trader gets like the Traders. Is that what it's called?
The Traitors.
The Traders. Mm-hmm. It's great trashy reality television.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
And if you've
It's
watched
like
any of,
reality TV,
if you've watched Survivor,
Mm-hmm.
The Real Housewives, if you've watched, what's it called? Challenge?
The Challenge. Yeah.
The Challenge?
We haven't watched any of these. We watched Survivor. That's
We
it.
watched Survivor only, yeah.
So there's a bunch of like.
But there's like a Big Brother, you know, and there's like, so it's just like these squads. They have like four of each.
The whole cast is just reality TV stars, I guess. And I don't know any of these people, but they know each other. It's weird. I feel like it's my first day at school in like, you know, where everybody's already done a few grades together.
And then Alan Cumming is just, he was just born for this moment. And it's the weirdest moment to be born for.
I love him. He actually,
But it's just he's so, I mean, I think people will watch it for centuries.
he has an excellent memoir that he recorded the audiobook for.
Yeah, we listened to the audiobook.
It's really good. I recommend it. Speaking of which, you should record the audiobook for your memoir.
I'm thinking through some things. I'm inching. Mm-hmm. Maybe even centimetering.
Little inchworm. Okay, should
Closer
we get
and
started?
closer. All right, here we
like-
go. Let's begin.
I feel like I'm digging around too much.
Good to see you guys. Welcome back. Begin.
Okay, well, where we left off in Blake Lively's deposition, she was being asked about how Justin Baldoni was talking to her about pornography. Like he does, you know? And she tried to conclude the conversation that she didn't want to have and didn't ask for and wanted to stop. That she attempted to conclude it by saying, I've never seen pornography. I don't know anything about it. Okay, and so the attorney has really drilled down in this.
Yeah.
But so we stopped right before this next line of questioning, which was part of her complaint, was not only that Justin Baldoni was telling her about his pornography history, how he watched porn all the time, wants to talk to Blake Lively about porn for some reason.
Yeah.
But he also, when she said, I've never seen pornography, I don't know anything about it, basically just trying to be like, I'm not someone you can talk to about this. He went and told everybody in the crew for some reason. So that's where we start. Okay.
It's the absolute strangest thing. Like here's
Just a fucking weirdo.
Here's a weird example. Like I knew this guy who, this is going to sound weird, but I don't care. He had this weird thing that I pretty much knew was kind of a weird little kink of his, right?
But you're not going to say it?
I'm not going to say what the kink is, but yeah, I just knew he had this like weird kink. And I'm not going to say how I knew, but I knew. Oh, this
It was just weird. It wasn't like harmful.
It's totally harmless, completely harmless. A self kink, a whole self thing. But he had this like, the self kink. And I just knew this of him because of a couple of incidences where I'm like, okay, bro, you got this thing. And so we were working on something, and we were talking about this character. And there's like 3 writers in the room because we were working on this like project for the company.
He's a writer.
He was developing. He was a producer.
Okay.
Anyway, so he says, I think the character should, just, and then he randomly spouted out this kink
Of his.
that I believe he has. And everyone was like, what? Because it was so random. Everyone was like, holy fuck, what? And I just, of course, smiled, and I was just like, yeah, man, maybe. I mean, it's kind of random that we're there now since we were like talking about something entirely different. But, yeah, maybe that's kind of weird. Yeah, maybe that might work. The point I'm making is that he did not tell anyone
that it was his
or a former kink of his.
Right.
But I knew deep down inside.
Everybody could suspect, but he didn't come out and say it.
He was putting a kink that he has
That's really
on a
funny.
character, and he did it in front of 4 other writers, and he didn't make anybody feel uncomfortable about it, but for the fact that the kink itself made us all stir.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
That's not conclusive though, because you don't know. Like for instance,
It's inconclusive, but
I
my
had a
point
friend
is
who was
that if you've got this thing, like he's got porn addiction, he shouldn't be talking about his porn addiction. Is the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is that he can install, like artists do, their real life into their characters or their work, and get their characters and their work owning that real life without reflecting it on themselves beyond it being a part of their creation. Mm-hmm. That was a really convoluted way of saying it all, but
No. I had a friend who was he was writing a screenplay that had a scene with SA in it.
yeah.
And he was trying to figure out whether he was going to write it because he didn't know how to write it. So what he decided to do was do homework. So he went to our local video store.
He scared me for a second because I was like,
No. He wanted to know how screenwriters handle this. So
Yeah.
he went to his local video store and he rented over a few weeks. He kept renting a bunch of these movies that had SA scenes in there. And because it was a small video store, the clerk was always there, and they started to pick up on it and started treating him really weird
What?
because they didn't know that he was just doing research as a screenwriter.
This is the bane of
I
writers.
think he ended up not writing it because he was like, I got to figure something else out. I think that the pushback he got socially was enough for him to be like, oh, okay, maybe this isn't the way to go.
I'll bet you more than one writer has been put on a list.
Oh yeah, of course. They're just doing research.
Because they're like,
This is
how to make a bomb.
This is a thing about horror writers or crime, crime writers all the time. They're always if you look at their search history, they look like total sickos.
So you did make a search about how to bury a body. I know, but what does that got to do with this audit?
Yeah.
This is just a financial audit.
really
Am I right?
Okay, let's get started.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, this question from the attorney, it just picks up. They've skipped a page. I'm on page 139 of the document here. Are you claiming that as part of your lawsuit, he's asking Blake Lively, that it was sexual harassment that either Justin or Jamie disclosed to the cast and crew that you never looked at pornography? So the question, was it sexual harassment when they said that to the crew? And Blake Lively said, I felt upset and disturbed and exposed that an effort at deflecting something that he had said that felt like it had crossed a line, instead of him taking that and not doing it anymore, that he took that and used that in front of other crew members in the workplace.
That's so incredibly well put, because it's a trick question he's trying to get her to trip on. He's trying to Friedman is trying to set her up to have a meritless claim. Mm. And here she's bringing definition to why it became offensive, and doing it in a way that is compelling, I think.
Question, and is this just Justin or Jamie also? Blake Lively says, Jamie was always around Justin. They were a pair. So my memory of them together on set and My memory of them together on set, and that was them together. Question. Did you actually overhear Justin or Jamie tell crew members or cast members that you never looked at pornography? She said, yes, I remember hearing that. You heard it from them directly? She said, I remember hearing that from Justin, yes. And Justin said that in front of you? She said, yes. And who did he tell? Blake Lively says, I don't remember specifically. I remember him speaking about pornography in a casual way. And he said, oh, Blake doesn't know anything about it. She's never seen it.
That's fucked up.
It's just dumb.
Yeah, it's a goading. It's like a, it's like a, yeah. I mean, it's
not like she told him in confidence, but why are you continuing the conversation she's clearly not trying to have?
Yeah, but you know how
It's
like
just
people pick on
extremely
people. You know, people just pick on people in that way with their like, whatever. Maybe a fat joke with somebody's.
Oh, Blake doesn't
or,
know anything about it. She's never seen it. Like, how is that constructive?
Right.
In a workplace for you to be saying stuff like that?
I think he's trying, and it like it could have been depending on how he meant it. Because it's so open, you could easily infer that he thinks she's lying about it, and he wants everyone to like hear the ridiculous. Oh, Blake Lively, everyone has never seen porn.
It could be.
I'm exaggerating it, but
it's just really strange to be in a conversation in a group of people and be like, oh, this one person standing right here who we're all with doesn't know anything about what we're talking about. It's just kind of like snotty. Okay. Question, when was this? What date? She said, I don't remember what date. Do you remember the month? She said, it would have been in May of 2023. So that's still the first month of filming.
Yeah, I mean, the filming isn't...
The first 2 weeks.
They didn't have a whole lot of time to film anyway. I think they only had
No, I know, but I'm just saying it's like right out the gate.
But the first month is kind of almost all of their filming schedule.
Did you bring this up with Ange? Blake Lively says, I don't remember if I made it to that. Did you bring it up with anybody at Sony? She said, eventually, yes. Question, in May or June, did you bring it up to them? Blake Lively says, no, I don't know if I made it to that. Like I said, Ange shut me down quickly, telling me I couldn't file an HR claim through Sony. Question, who was there when Justin was saying that you had never seen pornography? Who in the cast or crew was present for that? This is asked and answered. This answer gets cut off, but she says, I don't remember specifically. I remember the feeling. I remember the feeling more than I remember the specifics. Okay. So we have about 7 pages are missing. We don't get to see them. This next question, okay? Are you with me?
Yeah.
Did Leslie Sloan call you and tell you that she received information from Stephanie Jones about a smear campaign or something similar to that? Blake Lively says she did not. Did you learn from Leslie Sloan that there were text messages in Jen Abel's phone? She said no. Who did you learn that from? Blake Lively says, Ashley Avignon. Who is that? She's a friend of mine. And what did she tell you? Blake Lively says, she said that a woman that she knows named Stephanie Jones was trying to get in touch with me. She gave me more details. I was always wondering how this went down. How did Stephanie Jones know about Jen Abel's messages? How did Blake Lively find out from Stephanie Jones about Jen Abel's messages? Now we know. She said that a woman that she knows named Stephanie Jones was trying to get in touch with me. She gave me more
she's
details.
she's named in one of the depositions.
Ashley Avignon?
Oh yeah, that's it.
I don't know if I'm saying her name right. Avignon. Okay. When did she tell you that? Late August of 2024. Oh, so that was right after the premiere.
She's like, there are some things on this person's phone
you should be aware of
that are nasty.
It makes perfect sense to me because she's like, listen, this is an employee of mine who's acting out of fucking pocket and she's going to take my company down. I'm going to tell you everything that she's doing so that you can help me put a stop to it. Right? Because they're aligned in this.
She needs to protect herself.
Jen Abel's being destructive. So
yeah, completely rogue and crazy.
Question. And did she tell you that in writing or on the telephone? She said on the phone. And what else did she tell you? She told me that she works with a woman I think she's an interior designer, and the woman's name is Stephanie Jones, and that she's a publicist, and that she has a phone which contains the most disturbing messages she's ever read in her 20 to 30 plus career. That as a mother and a woman, she was sobbing reading the messages. that she thought that I deserved to see what had been done to me. She said that she had reached out to my publicist, Leslie Sloan, to share the same and was brushed off. But she said that she felt like I should see these messages and that they were on a phone that she had ownership of because it was a company phone. Did you speak with Stephanie Jones? She said, no, this was relayed to me through Ashley. Question, and did you get a hold of those documents? I said this last time that we were doing this, reading this deposition.
Just rip through it. It's cool.
I just cannot believe he's asking questions like this. The form of his questions is just...
It's weird, right?
I would ask better questions than this.
Yeah. And you're not even a lawyer.
No, nothing even close. And did you get a hold of those documents? She said eventually yes. And when was that? Fall of 2024. Okay, there's a big break, so we're missing like 30 pages. Next question. Did you cause or suggest to the cast of It Ends With Us to stop following Justin Baldoni on social media? She said no, which is interesting.
Colleen Hoover said she was asked by Blake Lively to drop Justin Baldoni.
To unfollow him.
That's what she said.
Did you have any discussions with anybody in the cast about that? Blake Lively said, yes, a couple of us spoke about it. And who did you speak with? Blake Lively says, Jenny Slate was very upset on the first round of production, so she unfollowed him in May or June of 2023. And before the film came out, Jenny doesn't manage her social media. She has a person do it for her, and she noticed that this person...
Me too.
You know, when you're like real big time?
Yeah, just... Hey, unfollow some people today because I just feel like it. Just fucking unfollow somebody. I don't care who. My mom, my dad, I don't care.
We're trimming the fat today.
We're trimming the fat.
Jenny doesn't manage her social media. She has a person do it for her, and she noticed that this person had re-followed him, and she really wanted these people out of her life, as she put it. I don't know if those were the exact words. And she was concerned about the tough position we were all in, which is wanting to protect the film and also wanting to respect her own boundaries and dignity. Question. Who else did you have discussions with about unfollowing Justin Baldoni?
By the way, these people don't follow a lot of people in the first place. So,
Celebrities?
And so it might mean also that with that, they get a lot of the feed coming in from the people they follow.
Yeah, she's like, I just don't want to see this guy's face.
Yeah, like imagine watching, seeing Justin Baldoni on the beach with Jamie Heath, no homo hugging all over the place,
Who else did you have discussions with about unfollowing Justin Baldoni? Blake Lively says, Colleen Hoover told me after she unfollowed him. So that is an inconsistency between the two of them.
What is that?
Interesting, huh? I mean, I genuinely don't understand why unfollowing is a subject for questioning in a deposition in a civil litigation. Like, who gives a fuck?
Well, a part of what he's saying is that this whole thing was instigated.
Oh, yeah, I
and
know.
that he took damage personally because they all bullied him via this social media.
My point is that
abandonment.
If what he did was a result of them unfollowing on social media, that is still retaliation. If the unfollowing is... Sorry, I'm going to put my socks on. Excuse me. If unfollowing is a result of him having been a harasser in a workplace, then it seems totally reasonable that they would unfollow and very unreasonable that he would retaliate against them for it. So he could be upset, but I don't understand why it seems to him to be some sort of justification for anything. It makes her case,
I'm still amazed that we have Colleen Hoover saying that she was asked, because it's a pretty distinct thing. It just seems hard to believe that they don't have the same story.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to look for more of these inconsistencies, but it's interesting how in this case, it does not matter. I don't know how the unfollowing... I understand that was a catalyst for him to react, but there's no claim in the litigation involving, there's no legal issue around unfollowing.
No, I understand, but they're calling it something of a provocation by her, and they're saying she led it. So the accusation by them is that she went around and rallied everyone against Justin Baldoni.
No, I know, but the testimony...
Colleen Hoover saying yeah, she asked me to unfollow him.
Yes, it's only the unfollowing though, because they do all agree that they had the same opinion, and that's that they didn't want to be around or associate with Justin Baldoni.
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously the main
the unfollowing
the
is
major
just-
weakness that he has is the
just
fact
seems-
that Colleen Hoover was like, he was kind of a shit, and he was supposed to give me dailies. I get dailies on the other movies I executive produce of my books, but not on this one. Why? And why wouldn't he give them to Blake Lively? So now what? He doesn't give them to the women?
Yeah.
Like all that, you can't rewrite that just because of this inconsistency.
Okay, next question. Oh, so he's asking who else did you have discussions with about unfollowing Justin Baldoni? She said, Colleen Hoover told me after she unfollowed him. Anyone else? No. Okay. Are you aware that Sony ever suggested that you were the cause of people unfollowing Justin? She said, no. Are you aware of Sony saying that it was your doing that right before the premiere, everybody stopped following Justin, which caused immediate interest in the dispute? Blake Lively said, given that Sony is a corporate entity, can you be more specific with who you're speaking about? He said, anyone at Sony. She said, anyone at Sony? He said, yes. No, I'm not aware of that. You've never seen a document or seen anything that indicates in any way that Sony was holding you responsible for the cast unfollowing Justin? Is that your testimony? This all just seems so fucking stupid, doesn't it?
Holding you personally responsible
For the cast
unfollowing the great Justin Baldoni?
We actually don't get to see the answer to that. Let me see if it's on this other document I have. Do you want to see if anybody's in the chat talking about this?
The chat's on fire.
On fire.
On fire.
178.
John Farm's here. A scientist is here. Did I tell you that already? Probably did. I have 2 mouses, and sometimes I just grab.
You have mice.
I have mice.
Okay, cool. Picking up like 10 pages later, okay?
Bummer. I want that whole line of questioning because I'm very interested in this.
In the unfollowing?
Yeah,
in
well,
the unfollowgate?
Well, just because like if she's saying she didn't have a part of it, then I want to know by her perspective what she thinks happened, and then I want to hear from everybody else.
Yeah, and it's possible that Sony just assumed, Okay, this is the middle of her answer. It's a long answer. I don't know what the question was though. Okay.
Okay.
She goes, and each day, key crew members were not there, which is odd on a film set. There is not a lot of substitution with key members. And I noticed that a key member or 2 was missing. And then the next day, there were more missing. And then I noticed that I started to feel symptoms, and I asked someone where the crew members were, and I was told that they had COVID. And I asked Alex Sachs if she knew that, and she said yes. And I said, why didn't anyone let me know? And she said, well, there aren't necessarily COVID protocols that we have to follow anymore. And I said, I understand, but I'm the only person who can't wear a mask. And if I knew that people were sick per SAG, I could ask for people to test when they arrive at work. Just for the time period where there is an outbreak, I could ask that others in close proximity wear a mask. And it's not something I would have exercised usually, because if there wasn't an outbreak, because I wouldn't want to put an additional burden on the budget or...
It's so weird because you only know when it's a problem after people get sick. It's called prevention, like...
Well, that's why dropping
when
COVID protocols on a set where people have to be unmasked is really fucking stupid.
When you put a mask on after the fact, the infections are already there.
If there wasn't an outbreak, because I wouldn't want to put additional burden on the budget or the time. So I had no reason to ask unless there was an outbreak, but nobody told me there was an outbreak. So I said, why didn't anyone tell me? And she said, well, because we don't have COVID insurance, is my understanding. So I don't think they wanted you to test. Are you hearing this?
COVID insurance must be through the roof.
And she said, well, because we don't have COVID insurance is my understanding. So I don't think they wanted you to test. They were like, if we don't test, then there's no COVID. People are still missing days of work.
That's how COVID works basically now.
Oh my God.
It's just like coupled into flus and colds.
But it's unbelievably self-sabotage because people are still missing days of work. Like, you can't get a productive crew if everybody's really fucking sick all the time. So you might as well just keep your COVID protocols if you don't have COVID insurance.
The latest estimates are that it's still killing 100,000 Americans a year or more.
Yeah, on film sets too.
For sure.
Next question. And did you verify that information with anyone? She said, I was told the next day that they did not have COVID insurance. Yes. And who told you that? She said, Alex Sachs. Did you request a meeting with Jamie, Justin, and Alex Sachs on June 1st, 2023? She said, I don't remember the date, but I do remember when I came back after having COVID, I requested a meeting with them. So we know from the timeline that this is correct. That is June 1st, 2023. Okay?
Okay.
How did you request the meeting? Was it by email or phone call? She said, I don't recall. Was this an in-person meeting? She said, yes. And this was the first day that production began again after you got back from COVID, right? She said, yes. Was anyone else invited to attend the meeting that didn't attend? She said, not that I recall. What was discussed at the meeting on June 1st? Blake Lively says, I wanted to check in with them about many things, but upon starting the meeting, Justin started to explain to me that Jamie showing, and I hadn't mentioned this, that Jamie showing the nude video of his wife was okay and that it wasn't Jamie's fault. Justin said, it's my fault. I told him to show you because I thought you wanted to see it. So it's not on Jamie, it's on me. Which was so shocking to me because I had a conversation with Ange a few days before saying I wanted to file a formal HR complaint. She told me I couldn't file a complaint through Sony and that I had to file it to the men who were making me so uncomfortable. So I asked her not to tell them so that I could figure out how to deal with it properly with my team. And then she told them, and I didn't know what to do, and I didn't know how to handle it because that's not the way that I plan to log my concerns. And it was especially upsetting because I now was confirmed everything that I was afraid of, which is that they didn't find it to be an issue. They didn't say abso-fucking-lutely not, this will never happen again. They said, it's my fault, it's not his. And then she's quoting, I thought you wanted to see it. They didn't ensure me that I would have a safe set. They didn't offer me HR people to call. They didn't tell me who was responsible ever. Not then, not before. And I had to keep working with these people, and I had to do sex scenes with these people, and I had to do a rape scene with this person, and I had no one to go to. Question. Did you have a body double that could have done that scene? She's like, I'm supposed to be acting in the scene. It's like a real big acting scene.
Yeah, it's a bullshit question anyway because the body double, they've already determined which scenes the body double is going to be in for.
It's crazy. That's his follow-up question to all of what she said. Did you have a body double that could have done that scene? She said, when we came back, I asked for a body double. Yes. And did you ultimately have the body double do that scene? She said, no, because it was after the protections were in place and the set was much better. At the June 1st meeting, did you... and her attorney, Ezra Hudson, interrupts. She said, just before you go on, are you okay? And Blake Lively says, yeah. Do you want to take a break? She said, no, it's fine. Let's go. That's terrible. So she was visibly upset.
Jeanne d'Arc.
What? Why?
I'm just saying, Joan of Arc, yeah.
Why?
Because she's all, I will battle on.
Yeah.
With
no,
cuts
for real. She's like,
bruises.
I just want to get this over with. Okay, question. On the June 1st meeting, did you expressly tell Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath that there were serious HR problems on the set? Blake Lively said, I don't know what words I used because I wasn't planning on addressing the HR issues with them directly in my trailer with Alex Sachs in that moment, but I did express real concern for the things that had occurred thus far, including Jamie entering my trailer when I was naked from the waist up. Question. So when Jamie showed you the video of the birthing scene, the after birthing scene, are you familiar with that?
The after birthing scene, it sounds so disgusting, dude.
Well,
just sounds like chummed water. Yeah.
Well, it's weird because Brian Friedman's really fucking up here because the birthing scene is what they have been calling the scene in the film where they film her giving birth.
Yeah.
Right? The birthing scene.
Yeah.
But what Jamie showed her on his phone was his wife
post
after she had given birth at home in a home birth.
In a tub.
So it's not a scene. It's not a scene that he showed her.
Right.
It's a video.
It's a clip.
It's a home video.
It's a clip, yeah.
Of his own family.
Yeah.
But the question is, because Brian Friedman doesn't don't know the difference, I guess. When Jamie showed you the video of the birthing scene, the after birthing scene, are you familiar with that? She said, that's not what I said, no. Do you recall Jamie showing you a still image on his iPhone? She said, no, I recall a moving image. That's very interesting. Because that's a difference between them. Next question is, did you watch the movie? And of course she asks, because it's a stupid question. She goes, movie? I wouldn't characterize it as a movie, no. He said, well, did you just say movie image? She said, moving image.
You half-witted fool.
He wanted this, by the way, Brian Friedman wanted this to be...
Bar-cheating nitwit.
Brian Friedman wanted this to be live at Madison Square Garden, by the way. So everybody could see what a fucking fantastic lawyer he is. Brian Friedman goes, oh, moving image. I apologize. Did you watch the moving image? Blake Lively said, as soon as I saw that, it was a naked woman, fully exposed. I asked him to stop. Question. Was there a birthing scene during the production of It Ends With Us? Blake Lively said, we had already shot the birthing scene when he showed me that video. That was the day before. And did he tell you why he was showing you the video? She said, no. And he just showed it to you without explaining anything about it? She said, yes.
Splat.
And you just looked at it? And how long did you look at it for? She said, very briefly.
15 minutes.
Brian Friedman says, very briefly, meaning 2 minutes, a minute. Blake Lively said, I stopped it as soon as I saw that there was a naked woman he was showing me. Because I didn't know who it was. There was no context. He did not ask if I wanted to see it. He did not ask for my consent. I asked if he told me it was his wife giving birth. I asked if she had given consent to share that with me. And what did she say? The lawyer's asking, what did she say? And Blake Lively said she wasn't there. Question, what did he say that she said? Blake Lively says she's not weird about that kind of stuff. Did he tell you why he was showing it to you? She said, no.
What does that even fucking mean? She's not weird about that stuff.
You know,
what is that supposed to imply?
I'm glad you're asking, because this is one of the worst things that came out about the character of these men in this entire lawsuit. Why would it be weird for her to be weird about having her naked video of the fucking sacred moment of the birth of her child?
It would not be weird for her to want that to be private, right? It would not be weird.
It would not be weird
for her to want that to be completely private.
Right.
It would not be weird for her to not want that shown to otherwise complete strangers, particularly strangers with whom her husband is working.
Yeah, who he evidently already has an antagonistic relationship with. Like, why are you doing that? Why are you sharing with no context whatsoever? You don't tell her what you're showing. You just want it.
No, look, that's her word.
That's how willy-nilly he is with this private video of his nude wife. He's not even going to prepare someone or ask them if they want to see it. There's no caution taken. And he says she's not weird about that. That says so much about his character and how he feels about women and how disrespectful he is about somebody who just basic privacy. That anybody
I just can't believe that anybody would have a video of their wife giving birth to a child on their phone in the first place.
Well, you know,
I stand by it. I think it's weird.
I mean, that's how people record home videos all the time.
Okay. It's still weird to me. I don't care. It's still weird to me that he has it on his phone.
People are like, here's a cute video of my kid in the bath and they're naked. Yeah. You know, it's like, that's just,
there's a delete
lot of
button,
like private videos on people's phones.
It's a personal thing, whatever. I find it extremely weird that they'd ever watch it again. I just do. Like, it's a memory. You know what I mean? Like, it's a fucking memory. It's a memory. You know what I mean? It's a memory. You were there. You were there.
Dale, that's not the weird part about this.
To me, it's weird. I'm talking about, let alone showing it to other people. Be like, oh, let me get through this. Hey, hang on one second. Let me get this.
Especially
fucking
Justin Baldoni
incredibly
saying,
odd
as
video.
if it makes it better. Justin Baldoni saying, that's not his fault. I told him to show you. Like, why are you the person who says, yes, I would like you to show your nude wife to this other woman who is completely unaware of the fact that I'm sending you now to go do this?
What's weird is that he didn't ask. It would have been a simple ask.
But Justin Baldoni gets to decide who gets to see fucking Jamie Heath's nude wife.
Yeah, absurd. Obviously, the person that's being approached should be the one deciding on whether or not they get to see something that, they may or may not want to see. Obviously, Jamie Heath should have 100% asked if Blake Lively would be okay checking out the video that he wanted to show her for what he was going for or whatever, because obviously we know by testimony that the day before the birthing scene took place, and it was not a good situation. It was not a closed set when it was supposed to be.
Yeah, it was
fucking
really
Justin Baldoni's fucking buddies playing catch between her legs. It was a bad situation that, the next day you would think, with that you would have had, the basic social skills and professional, and professionality.
To be like, hey,
professionalism.
I have a video of our home birth. Are you interested in seeing it? And this wouldn't be a complaint. She would be like, hey, that's weird, but it wouldn't be a fucking complaint because she wouldn't have been shown. It is really fucking strange. I just think that it's really, it's so bonkers, and I cannot understand how Justin Baldoni thought for a second he was going to make it better by saying that's not Jamie's fault, it's mine. like, buddy, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
It makes no sense. What do you mean? You are the guy who was sending him to show his
own video.
His
video of his wife
to a stranger. Okay. Anyway.
Well, because Justin he's the Lord. He's the Lord.
I don't understand.
He's
how
the Lord of
these people
Wayfair.
function. Like, how do they put pants on? Just like they really don't understand the
two
basics
legs at a time, like
anything.
everybody else.
Okay, what did he say that she said? And Blake Lively said, Jamie Heath said, she's not weird about that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Did he tell you why he was showing it to you? She said no. And you had no idea whatsoever why he was showing it to you? Blake Lively said no. There was no reason to show me that day. We were shooting in a Boston bar. Unbelievable.
Birthing video in a give birth in a bar,
Here is the next question, but it gets cut off, so we don't get to see the answer. During the June 1st meeting that we were just talking about, attended by yourself, Jamie, Justin, and Alex Sachs, during that meeting, did you call the actions by Justin Baldoni sexual? And it gets cut off. Let me see if I have this.
Our scientist threw in a little fun fact. It was the dude bro Baldoni hired to play the OG in his text, saying how you just need someone young and hot to play young Lily, acting ability not required.
Yes, that's right. That's right, because he is a, what are they, he's not like, what do they call it for actors? You're not credentialed. Whatever. He went to college, acting college. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, he went to
Adam
a degree.
Like
He's got a degree in drama.
So he Baldoni consulted him a lot.
A BA in drama. Can you
I
imagine being the father of that person? You'd be like, you got a what? You're doing a what?
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're just rich, like, do whatever you want. I don't give a fuck. Golf.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, I said it got cut off, but I actually have this in the other document. So it's very frustrating because we have all of these deposition documents that were released, but they're kind of like, some have some pages and some have others. So I actually can see the end of this question. Okay. Shall I continue?
Yeah.
Are you with me? What's up?
Yeah. Nothing. Just somebody coming in to insult us. All.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's fun. I hope they're having fun.
Spicy burrito is kind of just come and try to lay some shitty on everybody.
Yeah, that's a good way to spend your energy for sure.
Yeah.
During the July 1st meeting that we were just talking about, attended by yourself, Jamie, Justin, and Alex Sachs, during that meeting, did you call the actions by Justin Baldoni sexual harassment? Blake Lively says, what actions? And the attorney says, the actions that you raised at the June 1st meeting. Blake Lively says, I don't believe he would have said to a man, it's not his fault, it's mine. I thought you wanted to see it. Without acknowledging or apology or reparations or no, I don't feel that I was treated differently. I'm sorry, she said, no, I do feel that I was treated differently. Question, yeah, I just want to know what you said at the meeting. So I'm asking you, during that June 1st meeting, did you call the actions by Justin Baldoni sexual harassment at that meeting? And she goes, which actions? He said, any actions that you had raised at that June 1st meeting. Blake Lively said, I remember discussing the video that Jamie showed me. I remember discussing the Jamie entering my trailer. And I remember, I don't know if I told him this or if this is another thing that Anne shared, but how bad it felt for him to tell me personally that I felt that I looked sexy and that I looked hot. And that I was also disturbed by the way that I understood Jenny to be feeling and experiences I'd seen with her. Question. During the June 1st meeting, did you call the actions by Justin sexual harassment? Did you use that term? Blake Lively said, I remember using the word HR claims. During the meeting on June 1st, did you call the actions by Jamie sexual harassment? Blake Lively said, I think the actions that I'm describing are pretty obviously sexual harassment. And the lawyer says, I'm asking you whether you actually called them that at the meeting that was attended by these people. And Blake Lively said, like I said, I don't remember what words were used because I never intended to talk to them about it themselves. I intended to formally... I'm sorry, this gets cut off. Are you okay?
Oh, yeah. I'm just, I didn't want it to slip because Cosmic Urgency asked if I believe Kanye or if we believe Kanye or if anyone out there believes Kanye. And I just wanted to say that I think he's on his meds and I hope it lasts. But Cosmic Urgency pointed out that he's got music coming out. Probably not Heil Hitler.
We are gonna finish this deposition today.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna talk about all that stuff tomorrow.
Yeah. I'm just answering.
I have more stuff I want to talk about from though.
Yeah, but we're gonna get into that. We're gonna read some stuff from him. And
okay, so there's a big page break that I don't get to see. Okay.
Yeah.
Are you with me?
Yeah.
So this is the middle of Blake Lively's answer. She says, I would do a Colleen Hoover film because the narrative or the sentiment was that this book romanticized and sexualized, more specifically, not romanticized, but sexualized domestic violence. So I think she's talking about the negative press because he follows up with this question, and does negative press bother you? Blake Lively said, I'm used to it after this many years in the industry, but it's not something I've had to deal with often. Question. Well, I mean, it's true that you dealt with negative press with respect to being married on a plantation during kind of the height of Black Lives Matter. Is that right? And Blake Lively says, it's true that I dealt with negative press during that. I was not married then, and I feel like that negative press was deserved. It's a mistake that we have publicly acknowledged and done a lot of work to reconcile for ourselves and others.
It really bothers me that people can't get past that. Like it's not a plantation. It's not a work of it, for me, it's awful. Shouldn't have done it. Should have known not to do it. It was a terrible mistake. It was also the location of the Notebook. It was also one of the most romantic looking places in the South.
I looked at the website of that. I can't remember what it's called. It's like
of the place, but yeah, the plantation.
Yeah, I can't remember. Something manor. But anyway, it was rated like some Southern Living magazine named it like the 2018's best wedding venue. Yeah. So it's like a bunch of fucking people are using this place as a wedding venue.
Yeah, no, I mean, it makes sense that people are using it. It also makes sense that she shouldn't. Yeah. And it also makes sense that people would be upset that she did. But I don't believe that they did it because they're racist at all. I think it was a very stupid mistake. And I've actually looked into what she's saying there in terms of the things that they say they've done, or that, they've, steps they've taken to sort of atone for their mistake. Yeah. And it's extensive. So I don't know. I mean, and it doesn't matter though. Like, just, these guys want to create this, and this has been their MO from the beginning. It doesn't even fucking matter, right? She got married on a plantation. Stupid fucking thing to do. That doesn't mean that she can be treated this way. That doesn't mean that Justin Baldoni didn't treat her this way. They're not part and parcel for anything. And it's just a way in which Brian Friedman can fulfill the promise that they began with, which was to take every misstep of her past
and exploit it
to ruin her reputation.
I think it's also really important that everybody understand that you got to focus on the claims being made, because a person will exploit how the victim isn't a perfect victim, right? Like, she could be a raging bigot, and it doesn't mean that she wasn't sexually harassed at her workplace.
Right. No, it's like saying a porn star can't be sexually assaulted when we know that's obviously
right.
Wrong.
I just feel like it's just a really, really easy trap to set for people to manipulate people into these like ad hominem attacks, right? Where instead of engaging with the claims she's making and trying to verify the validity of her claims and whether a law has been broken, right?
Yeah.
In this lawsuit, they're instead trying to like impeach her character. So they're like, don't worry about what she's saying. Let's talk about who she is. And then if we make you not like her, then that means that you don't even have to engage with what she's saying. But she can still be a victim and be a horrible person. Every single one of us could decide that she's a horrible person. And it doesn't mean that she's not right and that she doesn't get to prevail in her civil lawsuit because he broke the law. You know what I mean?
Of course.
I just feel like it's like such an easy trap. It doesn't matter whether any of this other stuff happened in her past. It's so easy to see that he was exploiting it.
By the way, Spicy Burrito, out of Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively, only one of those people were sued for discrimination. Only one.
For racial discrimination.
For racial discrimination. And it wasn't Blake Lively.
If we're going to be digging into
so if you're
people's
going to
past,
if you're going to be upset, if you're going to think Blake Lively is a piece of shit because she got married on a plantation, is Justin Baldoni a piece of shit for literally being sued for racial discrimination? Just putting that out there. Like, if it's good for the goose, how about the gander? Come on now.
Okay, so this next question is on this topic. Is any of the press that came out around, he's correcting himself, that was negative around the fact that you were married on a plantation, is it your position that you believe that's part of the smear campaign? And Blake Lively says, I don't know all that was utilized all that was created, dredged up as part of the smear campaign. I take full accountability for that decision. So does my husband. But I don't know what weaponizations of the past has been part of the campaign. Question, what do you mean by dredged up? And
you don't know what that is?
And this answer gets cut off, but she begins by saying, I mean that both directly and indirectly, by creating this environment, there was a story that was being told about me suddenly on August 9th that it was about my character. I was a mean girl, that I was a bully, most specifically that I was a bully. And that gets cut off.
Lemon Kate's here, by the way.
Oh, sweet.
Always good to see Lemon Kate. Delicate is here, I think. I saw a Delicate. If I missed you.
Girl, I'm gonna miss you.
Girl, I'm gonna miss you.
Ever since we watched the Milli Vanilli documentary, it's just been in my head.
It's amazing. Like, you can just, like, they have all the one-liners. Girl, you know it. Girl, you know it. Girl, you know it. Girl, you know it.
All right, that's enough of that. Thank you very much.
You know what part I'm doing?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Of course.
That's how it happened.
Okay, listen.
Okay.
This gets, excuse me, I got a drink.
Would you? Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because I don't know how the law works. I'm so curious about whether or not that is any kind of support for any kind of claim. The fact that she talks about this directly or indirectly. Like, I wonder how much indirectly is a play, or if it is a play whatsoever.
I don't think that it's beyond the realm of possibility, right? This isn't some fucking Looney Tunes conspiracy theory that Justin Baldoni said, I think that we should, what did he say? He said, we need something like this. We would need something like this.
Yeah.
And he shared an image of Hailey Bieber being called a bully and
of women, a bully of women.
And he sent that to his publicists. And 2 days later, as if it was an order fucking fulfilled, Kirsty Flaw publishes her video of this old interview, and she frames it as her being bullied by Blake Lively.
Correct.
You cannot convince me that those two are not connected.
Never. I'll never believe otherwise.
2 days.
I know no one has proven that. I know that Kirsty Flaw is free and clear from any implication. I don't believe it for a second. Mm-mm. I believe that was 100% coordinated, and Kirsty Flaw has done nothing but bank on it ever since. She's literally been making a living on the back of causing reputational damage.
So I don't know what
to
Blake Lively is supposed to do about that, but man, that is really fishy, and you can't really, it's hard to convince me that was just some sort of like coincidence, you know? Okay, should I continue?
Yes.
So this picks up in the middle. I don't know what the question was, but here's her answer. She said, I did not ask that of anyone. Like I said, as part of the return to work protections, my lawyer negotiated with both Wayfair parties and as Wayfair represented it, Sony as well, on what would happen to the footage that was most sensitive in nature. Question. So you never asked or had anybody on your behalf ask anyone from Sony to destroy the dailies? Is that correct? This is new. Did you ever hear about somebody alleging that she wanted dailies destroyed?
No.
Interesting. She said, no, I never asked anyone to destroy dailies, no. Question, what about did you ask anyone on your behalf to contact Sony to destroy the dailies? She says, no. Did you ever draft an HR complaint? Blake Lively says, I don't know what that means. The attorney says, human resources complaint. Did you ever fill one out? And Blake Lively says, I was never provided an HR resource. Question. So is that no, you did not? She said.
It's just like you moron. It's like saying like.
It's really hard to, I mean, I can't believe
it's so amazing that he's trying to put the responsibility on the employee, for lack of a better term. And
according
I know
to
all the Baldoni fans are going to be like, hey, no, she's not an employee, bro.
No,
but you know what I mean.
According to Wayfair's own HR policies, it's all on them to do. It's their obligation, and of course it makes sense because HR exists to protect the company. So of course they would be the ones that are obligated to use that. But she says she was never provided with anything. Blake Lively says, I went to my attorneys and asked for HR protections because I was not provided an HR resource. No. Question. So in August of 2023, you had not drafted any type of HR complaint. Is that correct? And Blake Lively said, like I said, I wasn't provided an HR resource. I had made attempts to file HR claims. Question. You made attempts to file written HR complaints, claims, or oral ones? And she said, Wayfair parties never offered me or made me aware of who to go to for HR. That's standard on a set. I don't know movies that happen anymore in which the actor doesn't have to do an HR meeting along with the rest of the crew. That's a requirement. But this film did not provide it, as far as I'm aware. So I called Ange Gianetti and told her that I would like to file one through Sony and was told that I couldn't. Question. Did you ever refer to Wayfair defendants as clowns?
Multiple times today.
Blake Lively says, that sounds familiar. And I don't get to hear, we don't see her answer, but the next question is, did you ever refer to them as doofuses?
I'm going to go with yes. At least once.
Oh, heavens. Okay, let me see. Doofuses.
Big fucking baby is another one.
I'm glad that she is bringing back doofuses. It's a really good one.
Yeah, it's been dormant for too long. Rise, doofus. Rise.
Okay. This next page that we get to see, this is 4 pages later, okay? Question, what film was that? She said, I don't recall the name. The question is, and that didn't happen as a result of you being sexually harassed, or did that not happen as a result of the smear campaign? This guy's questions, oh my God.
Mescalero said it's doofy.
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 Her answer is, I don't believe those two are mutually exclusive. Did you want me to repeat that?
Yes.
Okay. Brian Friedman's idiotic question, because he doesn't know how to frame questions.
Yeah.
Like I should be able to pick up on a page where I don't see the context and the lawyer's supposed to put it in each question.
Yeah.
Like, this is what happens in depositions. I don't know why he doesn't do this.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen as a result of you being sexually harassed, or did that not happen as a result of the smear campaign? And she goes, I don't believe those two are mutually exclusive. I believe that I was sexually harassed and retaliated against, and part of that retaliation was a smear campaign, and that smear campaign harmed my prospective work opportunities. Question. Have you worked since it ends with us? She said, have I worked? He says, yes. She said, can you be more specific? Have you had a job in which paid you money? She said, I work regularly. I don't get paid money from my work. What jobs have you had since it ends with us? She said, I have a company called Betty Buzz, and I have a company called Blake Brown. Question. And you've done no work since the end of it ends with us other than working on those two companies? And she says, no, I don't believe so. Were you in a movie with Anna Kendrick? Blake Lively says, are you asking about, I understood your question to be since It Ends With Us came out. Are you asking since I shot It Ends With Us? And the attorney says, that's correct. Since you shot It Ends With Us. And they would know that. They would be on the same page if Brian Friedman knew how to form his questions. Do you see how he hasn't even clarified the time frame that he's talking about?
Yes.
She had to clarify it for him. This guy is fucking really bad at his job. I wonder what happened. Like, how did he get here? Okay.
Layla Kennedy just showed up and said that she liked Too Real.
Oh, sweet. That's nice.
Is that fucking awesome?
Yeah, it's really great.
Makes my day when I hear from you, Layla. It really does. Thank you so much.
What is Too Real again?
Too Real, a Hollywood memoir, which you can see right behind me right here. Thank you for asking, Angela. It's a book I wrote about a very long dispute that I've had with Leonardo DiCaprio. And in fact, why we're covering this case is because of the similarities between my case with Leonardo DiCaprio and the case between Lively and Baldoni, where the smear campaign, the not only the attempt, but in my case, the successful, complete, murder of a career.
You actually got your film stolen.
I had my film stolen.
Yep.
So it's anyway, it's a fun book. Just ask Layla.
Where could people potentially read it?
You can read it for free if you get a month-long free trial on Kindle Unlimited. And it's a great thing because you can read the book in a week. It's like it reads fast. I mean, I don't know how fast you read, but if you read normally, you'll read this thing in a week. And then you'll have 3 more weeks to read free books that are and there's really good ones. Like they have
Is that the only place to read it?
No, you can also buy the book on Amazon. You can also get a signed copy at freedomspoem.com.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All right.
It's not too late to get one for Christmas next year. This year. Go ahead.
Okay. So he's asking, were you in a movie with Anna Kendrick? Since the beginning of this... Okay. God. Okay. Fucking Friedman.
Layla said, it's a good book. I recommend it, but Toby does very bad things, so be warned.
Yeah, that's true. It will change your opinion about those celebrities.
Cover your cups.
Okay, so his question is, you've done no other work since the end of It Ends With Us other than working on these 2 companies. And she made him clarify, since It Ends With Us came out, or are you asking since I shot It Ends With Us? And he said, since you shot It Ends With Us. Since the beginning of the smear campaign is what he says. The lawyer said, since the beginning of the smear campaign, which is weird because he's alleging that there was no smear campaign.
Can you just read it all over again so that because I'm buzzing around Layla. She's making me really happy.
She's asking him to clarify
Yeah.
his time frame of his question.
Okay.
Have you worked since It Ends With Us?
Right.
So she had him clarify, are you asking since I shot It Ends With Us or since it came out? And he said, no, since you shot It Ends With Us. And then she goes, okay. And then Brian Friedman adds, since the beginning of the smear campaign. Which is interesting. Because he...
It's so funny if she she didn't come back with that. Could you just give me the date, the beginning of the smear campaign?
Yeah.
Would you mind? Can you give me a date around when you believe the smear campaign began? Like just throw it right back at him. You'd be like, well, wouldn't it be...
Okay, so her answer is you're using your definition in different ways. The way you have defined the smear campaign for purposes of today is the digital manipulation that occurred in August of 2024. That's when the film was released. So that's what I understand us to be talking about. Are you asking about from the time the film was completed being shot or from when it was released? And he says, Brian Friedman says, did you go to Toronto Film Festival on a movie that involved Anna Kendrick also? And she's like, when? And he goes, did you go to any? It was actually Austin. Did you go to Austin on a film that involved Anna Kendrick?
So he doesn't even know what he's talking about.
He doesn't know. Like, do you not have
He's
notes in front of
fumbling
you?
over his facts. And
I wonder if, like, in the audio where he's like flipping papers everywhere.
so she was at South by. Okay.
She said, yes, I just don't want to misstate my testimony. She's like doing his job for him. So when you say, since it ends with us.
It's funny because that's exactly what you see in the dance video. Is she's doing Justin's job, and now here she is literally
Brian Friedman.
like helping him. Because she could have just no.
Yeah, because his question's unclear.
Yeah.
And I love that her lawyers are just, instead of like objecting to the form of the question, they're just letting him like, keep walking off the plank.
Yeah.
She said, yes, I just don't want to misstate my testimony. So when you say, since it ends with us, I just want to be clear for the record that I understood you to be saying, since it ends with us came out, because you are timestamping it from the smear campaign. So I have done a movie since it ends with us finished shooting. I have not done a movie since it ends with us came out and the retaliation campaign started. He's asking, have you received any offers of employment? She said, of employment? I don't know what that means. And he goes, well, has anyone offered you a role in a movie or asked you to take a look at a movie to be an actress or a writer or a director or an actor or any role?
God.
Bro, do you need a break?
I applied at the CVS. I'm still waiting to hear back.
She said, since when? Because he's not clear. She says, since it ends with us came out. She said, not that I'm aware of. Next question. Who are your family members that have been substantially harmed? She says, my husband and children. He said, anyone else? And Blake Lively says, I believe that my mother and my siblings have been emotionally harmed, and I believe my sister and her husband have been harmed as well.
And her dead father, who has been harassed by Justin Baldoni, obviously.
Yeah. Question. You've won some accolades since It Ends With Us has come out. Is that true? She said, I don't know. Were you selected in having something to do with either Time 100 or People 100? Did anybody honor you? And Blake Lively, this gets cut off, but she said, I don't think that's characterized as winning an accolade, but yes, I was honored at the Time 100, in the Time 100 list, and at the event. God. Brian Friedman stresses me out. Okay, this is...
I want to be honored at the Time 100 list.
You do?
Yeah. Fuck yeah. Don't you think I should be?
You want your name in lights.
For my sweet potatoes alone.
Dale makes incredible sweet potatoes. I honor you every day for your sweet potatoes.
You do.
Okay. Something you guys don't know about Dale Wheatley is that he is an incredible home cook.
I do. Right?
His home chefing is top notch. Incredible.
We good. Mm-hmm. Thanks for saying so.
Oh, yeah.
Angela.
I want the world to know. Okay. This picks up several pages later, almost 15 pages later. Okay. How would you characterize what happened? So, okay, wait a second. It seems that at the end of his question, it says, great your rooftop scene writing was. I don't know what the question is.
Yeah, I mean...
Topic is rooftop writing scene. Rooftop scene writing, okay?
Yeah.
She said, no, that's not how I would characterize what happened. He says, how would you characterize what happened? Blake Lively says, Taylor was coming to my apartment anyway to hang out. Justin was still there. I was very afraid of the state of the script, given that he had been adding naughty doctor scenes and then some, which we've discussed earlier.
So funny she puts it that way. It's hilarious.
I know. I love that she puts it that way because she makes it so small and gross.
It's maternal too. It's very motherly, right? Naughty.
And I was aware at this point that I could not get out of the film. I was also aware that Justin it didn't feel like he was making forward progress. He had changed the script significantly from the one that I had signed on to. I didn't know he was changing it significantly. He sent me a script and I said, can you send me a version with stars on it? Which is what happens when you change a line. A star shows up in the margin. And he said, oh, I'm 15 drafts in from the original. If I send you a version with stars on it, the whole thing would be starred. So the entire film that I had agreed to was changing significantly. I knew I couldn't get out of the film. I was trying to do anything I could to make it better because I requested that we go back to the draft that I had agreed to join the movie on. And he said, we've already been prepping this one. We can't go back. I didn't know any of that was happening. I tried. I sent him pages. He was busy that weekend. I think he had a friend in town, and I didn't feel like he was taking it very seriously that the script was of concern. And other people in my life, mutual people that he knows as well, were very concerned about the state of the script. And I sent Taylor the script on her way to my apartment because Justin was still there, and I asked her to read them. I told her she didn't have to. I didn't want her to feel pressured to do that, but I hoped that she would. And if she liked them, if she could express enthusiasm, because I was hoping that that would create some excitement and that he might pay closer attention to them.
I mean, it's so like, I can't believe how small-minded it is not to understand the power of that. Of course, you want your fucking friend who is Taylor Swift, the biggest pop star in the world, and somebody considered a prolific writer, can consider to be a prolific writer.
Yeah, sure.
Like, that's the other thing. I mean, it's not like she's just a musician.
She definitely understands stories.
She's known for her writing. And so, of course, you want that. You want to fucking... You believe that if Justin Baldoni is going to hear it from her, that, you know, that it would help influence the thing you want to happen, which is, of course, to have your
Anybody
scene
would
out there.
make this play if they had... Okay, because Justin Baldoni's obviously a career guy.
Yeah.
And here you have a very close friend who is like a super heavyweight in the industry.
Yeah.
Right? She's got Ryan Reynolds. She's got Taylor Swift. She also has the director. What was his name? I've forgotten his name.
The director, Paul Feig?
No. There's a director that she had that.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Baldoni.
The Canadian guy. Yeah.
I can't remember his name.
The megastar guy who, yeah.
Anyway, it makes a lot of sense that she would be like, I'm going to marshal these people who are huge heavyweights in the industry that Justin Baldoni is trying to climb.
It's how Hollywood works. It's how Hollywood works.
It's a big.
You're always flashing the who you know badge.
It's a huge network town. So
name dropping, dude. We used to like in Hollywood. We would constantly do that. We'd be like sitting there and we'd be like, "Oh, let me get that for you. Hang on one second. Hang on. Here you go. I got it for you." And we'd pick up the names they just dropped.
You drop
because
the name?
people be dropping names all the time. I drop names on this Sean Levy. That's
Thank you.
it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. M. Serrata. I know you, of course, but for some reason I can't see your usual name. So yeah.
Sean Levy. Yeah.
Sean Levy. Yeah.
It just makes a ton of sense that she would do that.
Of course you're going to do that.
He's not listening to her, which is bonkers because she's an executive producer from the day she signed on. And she has concerns about the script. It is fucking
That's so weird that he thinks it's like some kind of mob move. Like, be a shame if Taylor here didn't like
I know.
your reaction to my script.
Instead of like a massive asset.
Yeah, it's an insanity, really.
Okay, so that was the entirety of her answer to that question, but it gets cut off, and then we pick up this single page. This is page 261. She starts off saying, "No, that's not what I'm saying." And of course, Brian Friedman is misstating her testimony. Okay. So he says, "Okay, I didn't think so. I just wanted to be clear. All right, I just want to get a timeline of things." Brian Friedman says, "The production started in early May of 2023. Is that right? Of the movie It Ends With Us?" And Blake Lively said, "The filming itself started, I believe, in May of 2023. And he says, "Okay, was that in California?" She says, "No, it was in New Jersey." Brian Friedman said, "Oh, I thought everything was in California."
Why would you think that?
Why would you
You rep the director. Why would you think that? Why would you think that?
He says, "Oh, I thought everything was in California."
He already knows that he's the one who said that she burdened the production by moving everything closer to her New Jersey
I think
apartment.
that he's being sarcastic. I think this is sarcasm from him because
going.
He has contested that they shouldn't be applying California law in this case because most of the events take place in New Jersey and New York.
Splishness is saying if Baldoni was intimidated by Taylor Swift, that sounds like a Baldoni problem.
It
is.
Right.
It was all his own security.
There's not a person in the industry that wouldn't love to be in that room.
I would have gone home. I would have been spinning like a ballerina all the way the fuck home, all the way fucking home.
I could see that too.
I just would have been over the moon.
I know that he took it as a threat. As just like, dude, you got fucking problems.
Well, first of all, also if I read a scene coming back from somebody like Blake Lively, and I read the scene and I was like excited by it at any level. Like for me, the scene would only, even if the scene wasn't necessarily an improvement, but it had these good qualities to it that could help eventually improve the scene through a continued collaboration, which that would have been my excitement right there. I would have been, oh my God, I'm going to collaborate with Blake Lively. Oh my God, I'm going to collaborate with Taylor fucking Swift, by proxy, Or maybe even directly. That's how I'd be able to. Does Taylor Swift want to come in and help with the production? Like, all of that would be nothing but
Here's the
just
thing, dude.
sheer joy and excitement for me.
Hollywood people have there's like a, there's a, what is the word I'm looking for? There's like a stereotype of Hollywood people being fake. Okay?
Yeah.
But the reason why that happens is because they get to be in rooms like this and they want to make everybody happy and they want to collaborate really well and they want everything to go smoothly and everybody's like glad handing each other and everybody's like being super supportive and everybody's fangirling out about everything. And yes, it's fake, but that's usually the way it goes because you want to make forward progress on all of your creative pursuits, right?
Yeah.
You want your projects to come to life. And so I don't know why Baldoni didn't get the fucking memo.
Weird.
Then what you want to do is like, yes, be a big, like he's like big open arms hugging guy until somebody actually wants to embrace him in this more broader sense.
Because
and then he's like, I'm being attacked.
I think it's very clear, and this is all speculation on my part, but I think it's very clear that he's afraid to be outdone, to be out, he doesn't want to be outshined.
But nobody's doing that.
No, but I'm not talking about whether or not people are doing it. I'm talking about him being afraid of it. I think he's afraid of it. His insecurity, Blake Lively taking over. I get this from his constant whining and complaining about Blake Lively taking over the film. His attachment to a vanity credit, a film by credit. Nobody cares about that fucking credit except Justin Baldoni. Literally nobody. Nobody in the crew would care about that. Nobody in the Above the Line would give a shit about that. Maybe Jamie Heath would and Wayfarer Parties would because they might want to build a director brand, but it doesn't even help build a brand. It's nonsense. But he cared about it, and he cared about it a lot. And then the issue around the writing of the rewriting of the screenplay or any of the scenes that might, in any way, whatever. I'll not speculate too much, but the point is that this guy seems like he's nothing but fucking insecure when what he had in front of him was the opportunity of a fucking lifetime, proven, by the way, by the $340 million box office run, despite all the goddamn nonsense around it. And by the way, part of that fucking big, massive opening that led to that huge run, because it's a good movie, by the way. I thought it was. You saw it. You thought it was a good movie.
Yep.
It's a good movie. But a part of what made that happen, and a big part of what made that happen, was Taylor Swift. She added 40 to 50 million views to the trailer on day one, having her song present, Tears Ricochet. So a move by Blake Lively. And so just to emphasize, like, he's intimidated by these people who are literally there to help him, who are literally there to make him rich and to make him famous. And he by paranoia only created this massive mess around it. Before it even began. I mean, fuck. Here's his opportunity. Like, the foundation that he was given, the cement being poured in, was filled with current Hollywood icons.
Yes, that's right.
That's the foundation that he could, and he wouldn't let it cure, bro.
I think that's why it was so easy for his agency to drop him, because he's clearly not trying to play. He's not trying to play the game with everybody.
That's a fucking great point, Angela.
Like,
it makes it easy.
An agent wants to be able to put you in the room with other clients of theirs so that you can drum something up, do something creative, and make a ton of money for that agent.
Yeah.
But if you're the sort of person who gets like really bristly, you turn into a fucking porcupine every time somebody of like, greater or equal talent is around you. They can't fucking work with you. They can't do anything with you. No. So all you're ever going to do is work on your own and be your own thing. That doesn't bring them a ton of money. And that's not collaborative.
And they have an Hollywood is evil fucking rhetoric.
Oh yeah, totally. I know.
And so they have this whole anti-Hollywood rhetoric, like, and what is William Morris Endeavor but Hollywood itself, personified through agency.
Okay, the rest of this one page is just basically Brian Friedman trying to nail down the dates, because I guess he doesn't know. So he said, then there was a writer's strike that stopped it in June of 23, correct? She says correct. And then production resumed maybe January 5th of 2024. Is that right? She says that sounds correct. And
what a fucking nightmare, by the way.
And
wow.
Was that also in New Jersey, or was that in California? She said that was in New Jersey. We shot a couple days in California at the end. Okay?
Yeah.
So that's just one small page of this. Okay, here we go. This is, her answer shows up at page 274. I don't know what this is an answer to, but Blake Lively is saying, when Mr. Friedman allegedly made these defamatory comments on behalf of Mr. Wallace, I guess this is a question. I'm sorry, it's cut off. I don't know who's asking this. I'm sorry. I'm just going to read this. I don't know who this is. I don't know if it's...
You don't know who asked the question, but you have the answer?
It's cut off. I don't know if this is a question or an answer, okay?
Okay.
It's very strange. Okay, so what this says at the top of page 274 is, when Mr. Friedman allegedly made these defamatory comments on behalf of Mr. Wallace, did he make them prior to that lawsuit, which has now been dismissed, being sent to New York? How about that? Is the question.
Okay.
Blake Lively says, my understanding is that Mr. Friedman's harmful statements started as soon as the first case started, which would be mine, so December of 2024. I hope he gets fucking sued. Okay, question. The premiere of It Ends With Us, the film, was on August 6th of 2024.
I'm just curious about if any of that's going to actually get into the case. Because if it turns out that the jury is going to hear that the representation, well, that doesn't mean it's going to make it to the jury.
When Mr. Friedman allegedly made these defamatory
No, I understand that he's being asked questions, but these questions don't necessarily make it to the jury.
Yeah, right.
They get ruled on.
Okay.
If this gets admitted into the case and to the jury, that will be fascinating.
The question is, the premiere of It Ends With Us, the film, was on August 6th of 2024. Is that right? She said, I don't know the exact date, but that sounds correct. I don't know if that's the right date. I think it might be August 9th of 2024. I can't remember. Okay, so the attorney Babcock speaks up, says, have you got 1051? I may have a document that may help. Can you attach that one? Okay, sorry. The attorneys are talking. Question. If you go to the fourth page, next to the last page, it says Tuesday, August 6th, 7 p.m. It Ends With Us premiere, location AMC, Lincoln Square, 1998 Broadway, New York, New York. Does that refresh your recollection as to when the premiere was? She says, sorry, I wasn't there yet. This is Tuesday, August 6th, It Ends With Us premiere. Yes. She's orienting herself on the page. Okay. Question. And the film's release was August 9th. Is that right? Blake Lively says, in the United States, yes. It released at different times in different international territories. But for the sake of our conversations today, when I've talked about the day the film was released, I was talking about August 9th. Question.
Same with any fucking sane human being.
Yeah. Okay, and you testified earlier that that was when you first became aware of the negative argument, or the negative article about you, right? And Blake Lively said, not an article, no. No, not one article. Okay, and then this gets cut off. Let me see if...
So just establishing that. Okay, well, that's interesting.
Okay, sorry.
You're good.
So this gets cut off, and then that is... we're at the end. That's it. That's all I have. Let me see if there's more. I have another document over here.
So that might conclude Blake Lively. We can still get a half an hour of Justin Baldoni in.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Deanne says that he is hypersensitive. I was about to say hypersensitive.
Say hypersensitive.
Hypersensitive.
That doesn't make any sense.
It's a great word, though. Hypersensitive? Man, that we got to put that one in the English language. Got to figure out what it means, though. He is, man. He's just a big baby. He's a big, giant fucking baby.
Okay, yes, that concludes what I have of Blake Lively.
Great. Well, first of all, just you're gonna get the Grammy. You're getting the Grammy
for best deposition reading.
Best deposition reading by an individual in a podcast. You're gonna get the Grammy. You're gonna get nominated. At least. I don't know, man. Could be the Golden Globes.
They're gonna snub me again this year. Okay, Justin Baldoni deposition.
Yeah, we're going to continue with Justin Baldoni. We're just going to pick up where we left off on that one. And then I'll sew them all together, and I'll release them individually. You're getting accolades, Angela, from the chat.
Oh, yeah.
They're sending their accolades, their appreciation. Dude, you really are great at reading depositions. You flow nicely. You don't get caught up. I read every line as it's written, but you don't. You kind of like create your own tags.
I read every line as it's written.
No, you don't. You create your own tags. You're like, and then Freeman says.
Oh yeah, right.
You create these tags, yeah. But it's nice because it just moves.
I struggle to read Friedman's and Jamie Heath's because they both have strange grammar, so it's not like reading something that's been edited.
You got to read some Faulkner and some fucking. You got to read some weird ass Hemingway for whom the bell tolls.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm having a hard time orienting myself and finding this deposition. Okay, so just can you talk to folks while I figure this out?
Can I talk to books?
Folks.
Folks. Hello, folks.
What's up, folks?
What's up? Pepsi here. Okay, yeah, let me go into the chat and see what's going on. Let me see. Our scientist says, my theory is that he had made changes to the rooftop scene and her edits undid those changes, which is why Christy Hall didn't notice major changes to the scene. That's interesting. Baldoni was butthurt that Lively didn't like his changes, and that's why his acting was especially bad in that scene. I mean, I just find all that very plausible just based... I mean, obviously, it's a theory, as you put it, but it's a very plausible theory because the guy's definitely, on every other occasion, super fucking hypersensitive. What's up, Shannon? It's good to see you. I love seeing you here. Fell bombing. This must be horrific for Lively, an actor that normally works under a no nudity clause. If the guy's basically adding all sorts of steamy shit after she signed a contract, geez, yeah, exactly right. I mean, obviously, well, everything about my dispute with Leonardo DiCaprio was over about, he claims I turned a short into a feature. Here you have somebody, which is just an absurd claim, but it does, sort of show that there's always a concern from the talent based on what they think they're getting into versus what they get into. Like, that's always going to be a concern. I thought I was getting into a movie about this and I ended up into that. That's why I brought up Caligula, but there was an even better example somebody else brought up. Do you remember what it was?
Okay, I found it. No, I don't. I don't remember.
There was another example somebody else brought up that I forget about, that I forgot about, that, where...
Oh, yeah, no, it was Last Tango in Paris.
Last Tango in Paris, exactly right.
Where allegedly the actress was legitimately assaulted for the scene.
Correct, yeah, where she did not know.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
The crazy shit was about to happen, and it did. Anyway. Splishness says, was Taylor's presence opinion intimidating, or do you not even know who she was? Oh, I'm sorry, I missed the setup for that. Jamie Mack says his version of the movie was rated better when compared to hers, though. Yeah, but that's not going to matter to the studio. If they're having problems with certain content, and they were also pitched by Blake Lively. So just to give you an example of how this works, because this is always so confusing for people. So studios always control the cut.
Their theatrical cut. What gets put out into the theaters is their decision.
Every cut that gets released, they control. Even if they decide to grant the director's cut, it's by their choice that it gets released only.
Right.
So they decide what cut gets out into the public, period, end of story. There's no negotiation about that typically.
This is really clarifying for me too, because I was like, okay, well, they signed up, they joined forces with Sony as the distributor, and if they didn't want to play by Sony's rules, they would have just been able to distribute their movie on their own. They take it to the market, they sell it themselves. They don't have a distributor until somebody wants to buy it.
Which is just like a massive job.
And then it would be the director's cut that somebody either purchases for distribution then. But because they partnered with Sony from the start and Sony paid for a big actor like Blake Lively, they have to play by Sony rules, which is Sony gets to decide what cut they put out, right?
So Sony had a bit of a different problem that they don't normally deal with when they're financing their own film, and that is that they had the film financier bringing the director. The director was the film financier by proxy, right? Because the money flowing through Wayfarer from Steven Sarowitz, right?
So Sony would usually attach a director.
Well, they would have more control over the director because, yes, ostensibly, but or theoretically, but even if the production company Cummings said, hey, there's this great guy Dale, he's hilarious and he's a really funny filmmaker. I think he's the perfect guy for the role, for the part of director, to be director of the film. That wouldn't be me being an owner of the company that is partnering with Sony. So the unique circumstance is that the owner of the company that is partnering with Sony is also the director of the movie.
Yeah, that's why Ange Giannetti is like, when Alex Sachs is like, we need to fire this director, she's like, we can't.
That's an impossibility.
He's the guy, he's the boss.
So what Sony did was they created a mechanism in the agreement, this is before they began shooting, that they created a mechanism, and this we know from Ange Giannetti's deposition, but they created a mechanism for a bake-off, and they basically created numbers that are possible to achieve. They said if you get a 90 percentile recommend C and two other major categories, If you get 90% recommend seeing all three, then your cut goes. If not, then we have a bake-off on a studio cut. The way the studio cut is gonna.
But you're saying it was fixed from the beginning because Sony wanted to be able to control their.
There was no way that Sony was not going to have control of the cut, and they created a bake-off to create the scenario through, for that opportunity to make sure that they could do it in a way that was, a lot of times companies or contracts will reflect the goodwill and they don't want to create a contentious point.
Right.
So they'll try to create this like neutral ground that gives them the same kind of advantage.
Right. They're like, it's just like a game we play.
It's a game they play. And so the game that they played here was that they had Baldoni and the company agree that the director's cut only goes if he hits these metrics. They were impossible. He didn't hit them. After not hitting them, then they get the bake-off. Now, the bake-off is going to be the studio cut. The studio cut is going to be led by a producer. It may be led by more than one producer, but typically it's going to be led by one. If there are more than one, if there's more than one producer who might want input into the studio cut, then often those ideas are pitched to the studio. And they were in this case. Blake Lively went to the studio and said, hey, there's a girl who's 15 years old with getting her virginity lost with an O face and an orgasm. This is inappropriate. We shouldn't have it in this movie. And so she went with all these areas that she felt were wrong or, whatever, bad for the movie and for the cut, and pitched to then Sony that she would be ready to step up and get the new cut. And so as soon as Sony engaged in that, and however that went down, we don't know exactly. Maybe we'll find out. Maybe we won't. It doesn't really matter because in the end, Sony's cut was being led by Blake Lively. And by the way, Blake Lively, who was not the editor, but merely somebody pointing to and suggesting and, sort of working with the editor to guide the edit, was also heavily relying on test screenings, which is the way to do it in the studio world. Like as a writer, director guy, gal, whatever, filmmaker, you're out there in the world and you're like, you're Woody Allen, you're fucking Sean Baker, or, you're, Sofia Coppola, these kinds of talents who write their work.
Or the guy who just directed The Rip, which we did not finish.
The guy who directed The Rip. If the guy who directed The Rip, exactly, bingo, bango. So that's it. This is very important for you to understand, dude. That's, that test score shit was Baldoni's whining. That it doesn't have a basis in reality. That is actually just evidence of him and the rest of Wayfair whining about the fact that they got a deal that they didn't like, which was that the studio was going to take control of the picture. When Ange Giannetti testified about this, she said exactly what I've been saying since we started covering this case 2 weeks into it, which was that Sony is always going to control the cut. They're going to put out the movie that they want to put out, not the movie that the director wants to put out. And that studios never, but for the rarest of circumstances, Steven Spielberg, James Cameron occasionally, not even James Cameron entirely, Marty Scorsese, these kinds of directors, the highest level of director with the longest, most Quentin Tarantino, but for these very, very, very few exceptions, Sony will always control the cut, always. And she says that in her deposition. So there was nothing unusual happening here. And this is the important thing that I want to emphasize. There was nothing fucking unusual
So when
here.
Baldoni is saying that his cut scored higher, that's something that people are often repeating in the content creators in the chat when they're commenting about this.
Yeah.
They said that his cut scored higher, but you're saying that his cut may have scored higher on certain metrics, but not the ones that Sony was specifically looking for?
Well, I don't have score sheets in front of me, so I don't remember. But it didn't really matter at that point because all that mattered at that point. So Sony wanted control of the cut. Sony got control of the cut with the bake-off, and as soon as they got that, it didn't matter. The bake-off, it didn't matter if the bake-off didn't work out for Sony because Sony would just be like, what any reasonable studio would do is say, "Oh, we're just going to keep working with the notes from the studio audiences, from the test audience." and we're going to just recut and keep recutting. So they just keep going. They're like, okay, well, we'll see how this goes, but we're going to keep going with this cut or in this direction. And, you know, it's at that point, they've already gotten the control away from Baldoni, and they're not going to let go. They're never going to let go.
Here's what I don't understand, too, is like Baldoni doesn't seem to ever reconcile the fact that he has a distributor, right? He doesn't have to pay for distribution himself.
No.
His company is not responsible for distributing this movie and putting it
Sony
into theaters.
put in 28...
He is whinging about having all of those resources, all of that money, all of that help, all that assistance. But he doesn't want them to have any control over any part of the process
Sony
whatsoever.
was putting in...
Like, this is what I don't understand.
Sony put in 28 million.
If you didn't want to play by Sony's rules, why are you taking Sony's money? You know?
They put in $28 million. Steve Sarowitz put in 26. Sony put in more money than Steven Sarowitz.
I know that I think it was in the Claire Ayub phone call, but Steve Sarowitz was talking about, I think it was then, but he has spoken about how he wants Wayfair to be a distributor.
Yeah.
And in the future, when Wayfair has their own distribution arm and they can be their own distributor, they don't have to play by Sony's rules. They can just put out whatever fucking pornographic movie Baldoni wants to make and not have to answer to anybody.
Exactly.
But it's like when Baldoni and Wayfair decided to take Sony's money and take Sony's resources and their marketing, their huge global marketing arm, whatever, they had to make some concessions. And it seems like this entire lawsuit is based on the fact that he lost creative disputes he should have expected to lose because he took that he doesn't want to compromise in his business dealings.
Well, another thing I've said from the beginning is that these guys were running it like they would more of an independent production. And in more independent, you know, you remember Steve Sarowitz in his deposition or somewhere saying that it was a Baha'i faith set.
It was a Baha'i set, yeah.
A Baha'i set. Uh-huh. That's the kind of thing that you can get away with as an independent filmmaker a lot more than you can if you're a studio picture. You know how like Blake Lively in her deposition that you just read was talking about how what's standard now is that there's HR meetings. And if you haven't done this before, and I don't think you have, but if you've ever worked for any kind of like major corporation,
I haven't, no,
you have to go through an interview process that includes an HR, not only an HR meeting, but usually HR training. So where we actually, you know, like when I worked for Paramount or for Viacom, I had to take like, you know, an SH, you know, course and, you know, just all that. And you have to like pass it, you know, you have to, and it's all like tied to your name digitally and all this other stuff. So in an independent world, in an independent film world, it's nothing like that. You're not going to be in that situation. So you're going to be able to dictate more of the rules or the vibe or whatever. And there's a lot more tolerance for it, I would say. Mm-hmm. You know, maybe that's not entirely true if you're like doing an independent movie, and then you go and you hire Blake Lively and she shows up and she's like, yo, this is fucking garbage. Because independent movies ought to run as clean and as tight as possible with these union shows really setting the standard. But again, there's more flexibility and you get away with more things. And so I really think that it's entirely possible that that's where we were with those two guys. That these guys were just like, they didn't understand the adjustments. And I said this from the beginning. They were in over their heads from the beginning. They did not know what it meant to make a studio picture in Hollywood.
You say that they're in over their heads, but it seems from the exhibits that we've seen, from the evidence, that they are just uncaring. Like, it seems like they just don't care that things aren't going smoothly and that maybe Sony is keeps asking them about problems, or, you know, there's a bunch of...
I think people who are not in over their heads would have recognized that those situations were a real issue.
Right.
And that those issues had to be solved in order for them to be able to run the kind of set that they needed to have the result they wanted in the end.
That's true.
So that's why that's a part of being in over your head, is that you can't recognize that, you know, there was a guru back in the 80s said, kill the monster when it's little, you know? So that's a good idea, isn't it? Right? Like the concept is a good idea.
If you want to keep your business out of civil litigation, yeah.
And what you see all through these complaints are all these little monsters.
Yeah. That
were never killed. They were fed. These monsters were actually fed instead of killed. And here we are.
Oh my God. I'm never going to get over this. That Justin Baldoni stood there in a meeting about misconduct and HR problems.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, when Jamie Heath showed you a nude video of a woman and you didn't know what that was, that's not his fault. That was me. I told him to do that, as if that makes it any better.
It's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
It's like that
so
doesn't make
stupid.
it any better. That just involves two people in the HR complaint.
Yeah, and both of you are the heads of the company. You're both heads of the company.
What are you doing? Unbelievable.
You can continue if you want.
Okay, so I only have I found my place in Justin Baldoni's deposition. So should we switch over to this or not?
Yeah, Baldoni? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
We are now reading, you are now reading Justin Baldoni's.
Picking up where we left off with Justin Baldoni's deposition.
Great.
He's being questioned by Gottlieb. I don't know. I can't remember his first name.
Mr.
Mr. Gottlieb.
Pretty sure.
He says, I wanted to show you a document. I'll mark this as Exhibit 27. It's a document which is a text message dated May 27th between Jenny Slate and Josh Pearl. Take a minute to read that. And Mr. Baldoni, I appreciate that looking at some of this may be difficult. Who is Josh Pearl, first of all? He said, I don't know. The text that we're looking at in the prior exhibit, which was Exhibit 26, and the messages that you had sent to Miss Slate and Miss Lively was from May 30th. This is an exchange on May 27th. Is that right? He says, it appears so. And were you aware by May 27th that Miss Slate felt, and she says, and he's reading, this is a quote, I am not scared or anything, just repulsed and deeply irritated. Were you aware that's how Jenny Slate felt as of May 27th? And Baldoni says, no. Baldoni continues, actually, I'm sorry. I would like to correct that for
He's
the
so
record.
fucking sensitive, though, you know? He's Johnny fucking sensitive, but he doesn't know that people are repulsed.
I'm not scared or anything, just repulsed and deeply irritated.
Like, repulsion is really something discernible, I think, you know? Like, it's not like, repulsion isn't something that lies beneath.
I know.
You know, it's really something that shows up, sidelong eyes. And
These are actors, too. It's not like they're, like, closed up. Like, they know how to emote. You know? They're just
Yeah.
going to express themselves. Okay, Baldoni corrects himself. He says no, but then he said, actually, I'm sorry. I would like to correct that for the record. I don't know the date that Alex said anything to me or that I talked to Ange. So if, in fact, it was the 26th, I don't want to speak incorrectly. So I don't know what I felt or what I knew or didn't know on the 27th. It very well could have been. Question. You might have known that she was deeply irritated by then? And Baldoni says, no, I don't know what day Alex and her had lunch, so I'm unsure. I'm just talking about the date, that's all. Okay, question. You characterized before how the sexy comment was described to you, is that right? Your understanding of Miss Slate's understanding of the sexy comment as told to you by Miss Sachs and Gianetti, is that fair? He says yes. Okay, do you see at 10:24, Miss Slate characterizing that comment in her own words? He says yes. And do you see her, she says, and he's quoting, at that point, he had made the comment to me about looking sexy, but I had decided to just try and push past it, even though it made me feel so unsettled and deeply, deeply disappointed and irritated. Baldoni says, I do. Did you know that's how Miss Slate felt? He says, I didn't. How does it make you feel now, knowing that that's how Miss Slate felt in that moment? Baldoni says, sad. Question.
where were you? That's not the question, but it should be. Where the fuck were you? How were you not aware that your actor was in this state? It's your actor. You're the director.
I don't know. Dale, tell me, because I have never been a straight man, but when you compliment somebody and they react negatively, do you suppose you'd be aware of that?
Yeah, I mean, I would immediately want to take her aside and be like, clearly I fucked up. And I'm horrified. I'm just absolutely horrified that this means you might be having a bad experience, or that you might see me in a light that I don't think is reflecting
well, so
who I
here's the
truly
thing,
am.
is he did do a bunch of apologies. The problem is that he is their boss and it is a workplace and he is obligated to follow up in according to a protocol that keeps him and his business
roll his
out
eyes.
of litigation.
I saw him roll his eyes.
This is true.
I saw him roll his eyes.
In writing, there is a lot of apologies and him saying that he's going to course correct.
I saw him roll his eyes. I saw him
That's true.
blow it off.
Right.
I saw him double down.
But there are text messages where he's apologizing in writing for behavior.
Yeah, well, it's okay, great. Yeah. I'm just telling you that what I would have done in the moment, what I wouldn't have done is rolled my eyes.
No.
What I wouldn't have done is I wouldn't be having the kind of private conversations that they clearly had.
I don't think
they
that
had
would-
Blake Lively labeled as a terrorist. Everybody was calling her a terrorist. And I believe that probably originated with them.
I hope that she kind of like, at this point, now that everything is out and everybody knows that those people were wrong, I hope that she kind of like owns that. Because there is a kind of, you know how they say that history is written by the victors? And so sometimes people that are labeled terrorists are actually, freedom fighters and revolutionaries that are trying to improve their own circumstances in their own communities,
Yeah.
So I hope that she recognizes that being labeled that doesn't mean that she wasn't just, Because I just feel like, that happens all throughout history. There has been people who are labeled, like my favorite one is insurgents. I was like, oh, okay, so an invading force goes into a country, and then the people who fight them are called insurgents?
Yeah.
They don't even belong there, but the people fighting them are called insurgents. Okay.
So crazy. It's infuriatingly crazy. It makes me nervous. Like, just hearing that makes me nervous.
Yeah.
I immediately feel like, holy fuck, can you imagine becoming an insurgent? Just by protecting your own damn house?
Yeah, like what was that documentary we saw September? It wasn't a documentary, I'm sorry. It was a movie, September 9th. 9th. Is that what it's called?
I think it's, yeah.
About the
Olympics.
The hostages and the Olympics?
Yeah, the Iranian hostages.
Like seeing it from like current times, watching that and how it was framed as like, definitely those are the bad guys and definitely we are the good guys. I see it so totally differently. I was like, oh, wow, like... I don't know whether that's totally accurate. Okay, shall we?
Yes.
Okay, question. You talked before about your
See
desire...
our scientist, bye-bye.
Oh, did we chase our scientist away?
She said, I've had enough of Angela. I can't take another minute. No, she's got an appointment.
I get that a lot.
She'll be back tomorrow.
Okay, question for Mr. Baldoni, okay?
Yeah.
This is Gottlieb asking, you talked before about your desire to tell the story through the female gaze. Is that correct? And he said, it was a desire, yes. Question. Why did you choose a male director? Dale, are you listening?
Yeah.
Okay. We've been talking about this.
Okay.
Are you listening?
Yeah.
Do you want me to repeat it?
Yeah.
Okay. I caught you, bro. You talked before about your desire to tell the story through the female gaze. Is that correct? He said, it was a desire, yes. Why did you choose a male director? And Baldoni says, well, for some time I was actually looking for a female director. I went back and forth from the very beginning of if I should direct or not. Originally, I had optioned the book to direct it, and that was the original plan, and that was back in 2019 or so. This is contradictory to other people's testimony, by the way.
Okay.
There, originally, according to other people, Christy Hall was going to be the writer-director. Okay?
Yes.
And that was back in 2019 or so, says Baldoni, and culturally the conversation changed very fast. And so I thought maybe I should direct it. So there was a period of time where I wasn't going to direct it. And then in the developing of it with Christy Hall and in speaking to many of the women in my life and women who do specific work as it relates to gender, I sought advice. I started feeling like I was seeing the movie and what was possible, and I thought if I could surround myself with the right team, that there was actually something that I could do justice to because it wasn't solely a female story. There also were elements that I believe could be really helpful to men. So ultimately, because I had the rights to the film and it was ultimately my decision, and in consultation with friends and my wife and team, ultimately I believed in myself enough to take on the role.
Okay.
Question.
So what's that got to do with the female gaze?
You thought you would be the best person to direct this film? And Baldoni says, at the time I did. Gottlieb is asking, did Colleen Hoover ever tell you that she wanted the director of It Ends With Us to be a female? Baldoni says, my recollection from the very beginning was that Colleen Hoover knew I was going to be directing this film. That was why she gave me the rights. Question. So my question is, at any point in time, did Colleen Hoover ever tell you that she wanted the director of the film to be female? And Baldoni says, I don't remember a conversation like that. It may have happened, but I feel like I would remember. Okay, do you recall ever having a conversation with anyone where they told you maybe the director of this movie should be a female? Baldoni says, I think during the time that I was just discussing where there was big shifts culturally, yes, which is why we were looking for a female director for quite some time. Question. Okay, ultimately, But ultimately, you decided that you were better positioned to tell the story, and Baldoni says, I wouldn't characterize it that way at all. Question. Do you recall ever saying to Brennan Sklenar on the film set something to the effect of, I have to tell you something, but I don't want to get canceled or lose my job. You can't say anything on this set anymore. And Baldoni says, I have heard that in someone else's testimony. I've heard that in someone else's testimony, and that is not something I said. That's also not the way that I speak. And
a genius just showed up and said, yikes, read all the documents while you're literally reading the documents. You're a genius. How do you do it? How do you fucking do it?
We are reading.
How do you keep yourself so sharp?
Don't be
No, fuck them, man. They show up. Well, yikes. We read all the documents, man. I don't think you did. That's what I think. I think you're sitting here listening to somebody read the documents and you're reacting to what's actually the fucking shit you're hearing instead of what we're talking about.
Well, it's not important to get derailed by that.
I'm just giving a little slap about.
It's not even necessary, because here's the thing is like we are all going to be biased. Every single person on the planet has bias. Okay. Yeah. I'm reading documents and I'm seeing very clearly what looks to be supportive evidence for Blake Lively's claims.
For sure.
I feel like the story she's telling is most clearly supported by everything I'm seeing in the documents. And
by the way, Judge Lemon agrees with you in his throwing out of the Baldoni case.
You know who else agrees
he says
with me?
That literally.
You know who else agrees with me? Justin fucking Baldoni. Where he says that all of her sexual harassment claims were truthful. That the things that she's claimed that she experienced on set happened. That's what he says in his document. I mean, in his testimony under oath. So, like, I don't even know what their defense is at this point. But it's possible that I'm reading all this stuff with the bias to want to believe somebody whose story I feel like makes more sense. Like, I'm coming in here, every new document I'm seeing, I am like, I want to support that understanding that I already have, because that's what people do, right? It's like confirmation bias is what we do.
Yeah.
But it's possible that if somebody else already has they've developed the opinion that Blake Lively is a liar or whatever, they are reading the documents differently. Like, I allow for that. I don't feel like that's not impossible. You know what I mean? Yes, we're reading all the documents. Other people can read all the documents and infer something differently. We'll see how.
Well, I'm just going to combat a little bit of what you said, because that's not how I roll. And if I see things in that, I mean, that may be how you roll. I'm only contradicting it in the sense of like how I roll. I read things, and if I saw Blake Lively, and I have, by the way, there's a couple things I don't like about Blake Lively's conversations that she's had. Mm-hmm. There's a contradiction between Blake Lively believing, and even if this is something that's not necessarily true, it doesn't help her case if she remembers something very different from Colleen Hoover in terms of who did what with regards on following Justin Baldoni, because you can provoke people to do things, and that can be a problem too. So was there something provocative of Blake Lively? And, I'm critical of that. I am critical of those things.
I just want to make a point real quick, though, is that part of their strategy, their PR strategy, was to go into spaces that seem that they're pro-Lively and just derail the conversation. And I'm not ignoring that could possibly be what's happening every time one of these people shows up in comments like that.
Yeah.
If you want to answer these questions in our chat that are like that, and you want to go on like a little rant, that's fine. But I want you to recognize that sometimes that's a fucking tactic that makes it so that I'm not reading what sounds like really fucking damning testimony from Justin Baldoni right here.
Well, we're going to read it all.
You know what I mean?
So this is, I'm trying to also have fun and interact with the people, and I don't mind interacting with the people who think that we got a lot of. By the way, like the live, because the Justin Baldoni people are showing and they dislike the live, but I like confronting people like Blake is a master manipulator. If Blake is a master manipulator, why was it Justin Baldoni who's been sued so many times? Why is it Justin Baldoni who's been sued so many times?
Also, like, you're talking about people who are at a high level in Hollywood. Being a master manipulator also is the same thing as being an expert negotiator.
Yeah.
Like, if she makes good deals for herself, is that bad? Is that wrong? If Justin Baldoni can't fucking keep up in the business, is that anybody else's fault but him? I don't know that master manipulator always has a negative connotation where you're talking about huge players at the top level in a fucking industry where you have to be super sharp and everybody's trying to get their best trying to make the better deals for them where you might lose out. Like, I don't know, man. I just feel like if you've ever heard about fucking Toby fuck Maguire talk about how he does business and how cutthroat he is and how selfish he is and how he doesn't give a fuck about anybody, he wants to make sure that he gets what he can get the most out of, right? No matter what it is, no matter what the fucking project is. I don't know that anybody ever calls him a fucking master manipulator, right? But somebody who's just trying to improve a film so that it can succeed in the marketplace, like Blake Lively.
Yeah.
She gets that label? I don't know, man.
Lucia says, we like the live, we don't like Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. Well, that's cool. Like, here's the thing about like this case, and this I think is a really important distinction, because I don't think you need to like them to believe the truth. Like, it's okay. Like, you can still hate Blake Lively, and Blake Lively can still have been harassed and retaliated against. And just remember, like, when you're looking at this evidence, like, to look at it through the lens of what actually happened and not how you feel about it personally. I don't have personal feelings for any of these people. None of them. I can't develop personal relationships with people that I don't know. I just find that impossible. And creatively, I've seen It Ends With Us. That's my entire Blake Lively experience. So Blake Lively to me is just, she's just a name that's always been out there and a face that's always been out there, but nothing I've really interacted with. Of course, I know she's famous and so on and so forth. So it's different. Like, you can dislike Blake Lively. You can dislike, we can dislike Justin Baldoni. The facts can still remain facts. That shouldn't alter the reality of the situation. Right. And the reality of the situation is that Blake Lively isn't standing alone here. The reality of the situation is that Alex Sachs said that she was physically intimidated by Justin Baldoni on a set. And let me tell you that is so completely nuts that a woman the size of Alex Sachs, and I don't know if you know this, but she's a tiny woman, the size of Alex Sachs to be physically intimidated by Justin Baldoni because he physically smacked a chair beside her in an act of violence. And yelled her name. Like, that is, by the way, like, I grew up in a household where my father beat me and beat my brother. And that's how that shit started every time. It started with a smack on the table, the kick of a chair, or whatever it was. So there's every reason to be physically intimidated. So that's a real big problem when you have testimony from Alex Sachs, producer of 22 movies. Now, you could pretend that that's nothing. But I can tell you right now that is beyond something.
It's just so it's not lost on me ever that, like, Baldoni was constantly surrounded by all of these fucking pros, and him and Jamie Heath didn't want to listen to any of them. Jamie Heath, who had never been on a film set before he was producing this.
Yeah.
Justin Baldoni, who had never worked with a studio half as big as Sony. But they were surrounded by all of these, like, incredible high-level professionals, but they didn't want to take any advice or guidance or, like, I don't know. Right. He keeps saying that he wanted to be supported by his team, and he was listening to his team about whether he should be a director or whether he should get a female director. But he says all this, but there's no way that he could have conducted himself in a way where he's listening to the people around him. Everybody around him is talking about how he doesn't listen, right? I don't know why. I don't know when he decided to put the fucking earplugs in. Anyway.
Cosmic Jersey says, Sony doesn't like Blake either. No one likes her. It's just such a silly thing to say. Like, what do you mean no one likes her? Like, how do you know that?
I like her.
I mean, that's just such a ridiculous thing to say. And the fact that
I think she seems great.
Studios don't like stars all the time. Studios fucking destroy stars' lives. Go look up the Max Sennett story and the way he treated Fatty Arbuckle because he didn't get what he wanted out of Fatty Arbuckle.
No, this is true. It's like
that's
a long history of studios being totally like completely contentious and antagonistic to their movie stars.
The relationship between studios and stars is stars trying to get the most out of the studios and studios trying to get the most out of the stars.
Did you ever hear what
it's a tug of war between these entities for who gets what they want the most. And that's all that is. And those relationships are rarely uncontentious relationships. They're normally contentious relationships because you're trying to get more out of the person than they want.
I was just thinking about what they did to Judy Garland. She was a fucking massive star, and they like starved her to sickness.
Junk Farm, yeah. Junk Farm says, and I love this. He's like, I don't particularly believe Lively, but I know Baldoni is lying. And this is the important thing I want to make out, make a distinction. The Junk Farm comes here all the time. We hang out. He has a great knowledge of the case. He has probably a better knowledge of the case than most people because he's been through this himself personally, meaning gone through SH claims, that led to, well, I won't speak for him. He's been through it. And this is the thing that I just can't emphasize enough. Like, it's not a popularity contest. It's, did Blake Lively get SH'd or make credible claims that she was SH'd, or did she credibly believe that she was being harassed? And the answer to that is yes. At the very least, she credibly believed that she was being harassed. It doesn't mean, and it doesn't matter whether or not those claims had enough on them to, to go through a litigation process, to be given a right to sue by the CRD. That's irrelevant. What is relevant to this case is whether or not she credibly believed that she was harassed. And she did. And we can prove that because we know that through Justin Baldoni's own testimony.
Yeah.
We don't have to rely on Blake Lively for that,
right.
because Justin Baldoni already testified to that. We know they signed the 17-point document. They say it's under duress, but nobody disagrees with the points on there. Literally nobody disagrees with the points on that document. Right? So it's perfectly okay to be like, hey, Blake Lively rubs me the wrong way. She's not an actor I like. I don't know, the plantation thing and all these things, whatever. That's totally fucking cool. But the question is, was she harassed? And then
did he retaliate?
Or did she credibly believe? And then did he retaliate? And this is the most important of them all, because it's not just that he retaliated. Like, it'd be one thing to have like a retaliation where he like has some conversation with somebody that maybe costs her a single job, and that's bad enough. I mean, that's fucking horrendous. But the retaliation that we're talking about is an absolute assault on the one thing that movie stars need the most: her reputation. The only thing that a movie star has is their reputation. Before this fucking shit went down, Blake Lively was an A-list actor that Sony Studios shortlisted for this movie. There's testimony by Justin Baldoni that we will eventually get to, where Justin Baldoni said Blake Lively was basically his only choice. That's because the studio, Sony, right, they would only greenlight her caliber of star. She's nowhere near that now. She can't get a job, no offers. Sony wouldn't fucking work with her. So, and we're talking about a 20+ year vet at the time that this took place. So, hate on Blake Lively to your heart's content, but don't change the facts because you don't like her. And that's where I think most people are making mistakes in this case, because you can hate Blake Lively and still see that her case is so solid it's ridiculous, and that these things probably did occur. The problem with this is, like, we can all have our opinions on the SH and how we feel about it, because SH is a very subjective thing. Pardon me. It's a very subjective thing. You can be standing in a room where one guy is telling another guy over yonder about this Betty that he hit last night from a fucking party, and the person he's telling it to is laughing, doesn't mind a bit, loves the story, wants to hear all about it. But the person that I'm speaking to that's overhearing it might find it truly offensive. And both things are true. It is not offensive to that person, and it is offensive to this other person. And the other person who finds it offensive has the prerogative to go and report that to whatever mechanism is in place, whatever system is in place, to process these kinds of claims. So the idea that she didn't get SDH is a subjective question. It's not an objective question. And we're talking about harassment. We're not talking about assault, where assault has more definition to it. Certain things have to occur for something to be an assault. For something to be harassing, it has to offend the person, and then it has to happen continuously. And we have those two things, those two elements. There are more, but we have those two basic foundational elements to harassment very present in this case, not only with Blake Lively, but with others as well.
King Gator said, I wish the Baldoni stands said something new for a change. It's always the same old words we've heard a million times before. Boring.
Yeah.
Lemon Kate said, they're spewing talking point number 6. Good little flying monkeys.
It really is. It's like, you, and the reason why they don't is because they don't actually read most of them. Most of them come here with whatever they're getting from, Sassy Dave Navarro or whatever they're getting from.
No, but it's true
fucking...
though. Like, things have changed significantly because we've gotten all of this new, these new documents, and if you're not keeping up, then you don't know that all those things have been debunked. Deanne said, wah, she manipulated everyone, not, look at his conduct. Feldbaumling said, quoting, Blake is his master manipulator. This from a person who has been darvoed into oblivion by the Wayfair parties. It's true, the Darvo attack. Oh, that's another thing. So we have the expert testimony from the woman who I guess invented is the wrong word, but she's the one who developed.
She created, or she identified
she named
Darvo.
Darvo. And it's like a 75-point document.
Yeah.
All about her analysis of this situation. I haven't read it yet.
It's so funny because people think that the people like her just get bought, and they don't. Like, she's not just available. She's not going to put reputationally her work on a potential victim without her feeling that there's solid evidence to support it. And the most frustrating thing is that people are like, oh, of course she can afford that witness. It's not, they don't have like a price tag, and it's not a bidding war. Justin Baldoni has a billionaire. He has a billionaire.
Yeah, right.
Who loves him, who fawns over him.
He says he could never do anything wrong. Everybody loves Justin, but he has no idea what's actually going on the set. He says nothing bad happened on that set, but he was there twice.
For 10 minutes each.
Yes.
He spent 20 minutes on the set. He was like, it is perfect.
No way did anything bad happen on that set.
I was there. Everyone was moving.
So people just don't know. They're stupid. M. Serrata said the SH is throughout the depositions. Ask why some don't recognize that making women feel unsafe, uncomfortable, repulsed, and disregarded by coworkers or bosses.
Yeah, that's all SH. That's all legitimate SH. Again, like what people get hung up on is whether or not
hostile work environment.
It does, but again, that might not be litigious. It's still complaint worthy.
That's true.
It's still harassment. It's just not the kind of harassment that's going to get you a payday. She's not after a payday. She and Ryan Reynolds are collectively worth over $300 million. This is not about fucking money. None of it is about fucking money. Her whole quest in life right now, or was at least up until and including It Ends With Us, was to begin a career behind the camera. To start something that is, deep in her heart, in terms of being a creative. And
Splishness is with us.
That's the greatest name.
Great username. She said, if we block the trolls, they'll just be trolling at each other.
Yeah.
It's true. If you mute them, you won't see them, and they'll just be arguing with each other.
They're arguing with each other, shouting, and agreeing with each other. Word, man, these fucking idiots. Word.
We really showed them, and meanwhile, we can't even see anymore.
Somebody said so much swearing. Are we swearing too much?
Oh, we swear a lot here, yeah.
Yeah. I was raised by a trucker. I ain't even joking, man. My dad, first thing he said when he saw me was, fuck, he's ugly. You know what I mean? I was born very ugly. I had jaundice. I had cheeks.
You were born sickly?
Yeah, I was sickly. I had cheeks, big fat cheeks, and they hung over like jowls.
That sounds cute.
And it wasn't. I had thick black hair. It's stuck straight up like a fucking Billy Idol. And yeah, I was in nasty shape.
Dude,
I was heavy. I was 9 pounds almost.
Ensoulment is a difficult process. Nobody like just wakes up like this, straight out the birth canal.
Feldbauming says Sarowitz during the birthing scene, "Hey, I flew all the way out here to see Blake naked. Why isn't Blake naked?
What's with the patch?
What's with the fucking patch? Hey, JB, get over here. Get over here. How much money did I give you this month? Come over here."
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Melissa Jane is with us, said, the trolls will never change their minds. You can take the stupid out of people. You can't make people see what they don't want to.
Well, I'm an ever faithful person who believes that people can turn around and see the light. I have to believe that because without it, there's a lot of hopelessness in the air. When you look at what's going on politically, a lot of this is driven by the same kind of narrow sort of point of view. It's like so weird how personal people take it. Like people show up here and they're insulting, and people show up in our comments afterwards and they just say these insulting things about us. They talk about my age, like they don't want to get old. You know?
I know.
Like they're not scared to die.
That one's my favorite one because it says so much about them and absolutely nothing about you.
Yeah.
You know, because you're like, what do we wish for you that you never reach an age where you're graying?
You turn 50, you're supposed to shut up and sit down.
No, but like, is that what you wish, that you won't grow old? You know what that means, right? Like, is that really what people are striving for when they dislike older people? They don't want to grow old. I guess we should wish for your early death, I guess, is what you're asking for.
I mean, like, may you never grow old. I don't know how to help you
Strange.
in that situation, but let me tell you.
Ageism is fucking weird.
I still want to go another 40 or 50 years, and I wouldn't mind while doing that still being active.
Yeah.
You know, I still have things to contribute to the world, I think. You know, at least my taxes.
Jamie Mack 11 is with us, said, can you please stop calling anyone that doesn't completely agree with you dumb? It's not necessary.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't think everyone that doesn't agree with me is dumb. I didn't say that. I said that people that agree with me about this case is dumb.
Okay. And why?
No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know if I would say dumb. I would say misinformed or misled. Like,
I don't think people are dumb at all.
You are deliberately misled.
Yeah.
If you have been led to believe that Blake Lively doesn't have a strong case and that Justin Baldoni somehow has any defense, then you have been misled.
Yeah.
Is what I believe.
Yeah.
And also, you know,
Jamie's saying he wasn't there. They weren't talking to us specifically, you and me. But I don't disagree with you. Like, I think it's important. Actually, you know what? I think that, you know, it's hard not to get involved in this, but I think the insults are stupid. They don't make any fucking sense. They just don't. And I know it's easy to get in the place where you're like, because God, I mean, you know, just hearing the same bullshit rhetoric. Oh, she stole the wardrobe and she stole the movie. And the idea that people can, with such conviction, believe in absolute complete fallacies.
Blake and Ryan were in charge of the marketing plan. Like, that's just absolutely not true.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
you don't know anything about what you're talking about.
Yeah, Ange Giannetti's deposition proves that entirely wrong. But so does common sense. 104-year-old studio investing $28 million in a major production that they're planning a summer release for is not going to rely on Blake and Ryan. Are they going to include them? Yes. They're going to include them. And actually, by Ange Giannetti's, I guess that was actually Greenstein's testimony, who said that her marketing prowess is...
Oh, no, it wasn't. It was the PGA letter by Josh Greenstein.
Yeah. But Josh Greenstein said that she has a marketing mind that is probably one of the best he's ever worked with in his fucking life. And the other thing about it is to say that on the one hand, and this is what drives me crazy about it, and this is why the whole, like, people get, like, crazy and start insulting Baldoni fans, because if you're on the one hand saying that fucking Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni are responsible for the marketing, and then the movie went on to make $340 million fucking dollars in the box office, despite all of this shit. It kind of proves it.
It was Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds is the accusation. Blake and Ryan were in charge of the marketing plan, and they succeeded.
And they blew the walls off, like record-breaking shit in their genre.
So you're saying they're excellent at it.
It's a historic release.
Yeah.
It's a historic release.
I know.
And they're trying to say that I don't understand what you're trying. Because if you're going to insult them, you don't want to call them behind the marketing.
Yeah.
Because if you're calling them the minds behind the marketing, you are paying them the utmost of compliment. Like, you couldn't be more successful than taking a $26 million production budget and blowing it into a $340 million box office, despite the fact that underneath it all is this gurgling fucking lava of fucking controversy between the director and the star.
I know.
On top of all, it's just an absolute fucking... I mean, all I'm saying is, like, you're patting her on the back.
Like, she's the fucking goat.
You're not shaming her. She's the fucking goat.
Yeah.
But here, let me poke a hole in that balloon and tell you right now that while Blake Lively clearly played a role in that, and Ryan Reynolds played a role in that, and others played a role in that, and this is the important thing, others played a role in it. They talked about a regular, if not daily, marketing call leading up to the release. And that marketing call, listen to me, Sony Pictures has just under 10,000 employees in that division. And a big, massive section of that is all marketing. And sections of marketing, there's feature release, there's, streaming, there's all the different marketing, sort of departments involved in having a distribution company of Sony's size and capacity. So yeah, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds played a role in the marketing, but so did Wayfarer, and so did Sony Studios. Mm-hmm. They all did.
The Junk Farm said, yeah, sorry, I'm going to call it dumb when you keep saying dumb crap.
Well, it gets hard not to, because you're just like, come on, bro, you're blaming her for the marketing and it's successful.
Melissa Jane said, I'm not calling anyone dumb. I'm saying majority of the people supporting Baldoni are ignoring important things that are coming out in these documents. I'm saying people are lacking critical thinking.
Well, and I don't disagree with you, and I think that part of it feels willful because they're sitting here and participating. Like, if you're going to participate and you're willfully ignoring the actual evidence, then it feels like there's either an agenda or a deep-seated ignorance that sometimes provokes insults. It's just, sometimes it's hard not to, because you're just left incredulously alone feeling. You're like, I don't know how to point out that the guy himself admitted that he received SH complaints from Blake Lively in his own testimony, and you want to say there was no SH. But he literally says there was.
M. Serrata 1 is with us, said, do we have anything in writing yet that shows Sony instructions for cast to keep the PR light instead of pushing the DV angle? Yes, we do. This is
we have Justin Baldoni's, we have Wayfarer or Justin Baldoni's own people.
No, but specifically, do we have anything in writing yet showing the Sony instructions for the cast to keep the PR light? Yes. In Justin Baldoni's timeline document, I think it's page 50. I don't know. I could look again. But it is there, where there is the document from Sony giving everybody instructions to not talk about. They're saying what we should stay away from and what we should talk about. Yeah. And they specifically say that not to talk about dark themes like DV, and to keep it light and talk about how this is a story of a woman's survival and how she's prevailed in a difficult circumstance.
I mean, Cosmic Urgency put it perfectly, by the way. Let me back it up to it, because I meant to say when I shouted out when he said it, because it's just perfect. Justin Baldoni was dumb for promoting a movie as a DV movie when the DV was a twist in the fucking movie. I couldn't believe it. It's like it's a twist in the movie. I mean, the whole thing, you wouldn't want to do that.
No, I know. There's also that really, really controversial Dallas Morning News segment that they had to pull from the air, where he was talking about a really violent scene, and he was explaining the scene of violence. But that is like a catalyst, a turning point in the story. Yeah. And it's just, I don't understand why, as a director, you would ever want to reveal that in your promo, in your press. Jamie Mack said, I'm just trying to hear all sides out. And I think that's a great idea to do that. I think it's important, though, that when you do that, that you're literally listening to all sides. And by that, I mean, you're dismissing the noise. Like, for example, if somebody says, Blake Lively got married at a plantation, a quick question you can ask yourself to stay on track with this thing is, what does that have to do with the case? Because if the answer is nothing, then you shouldn't consider it. And you should instead, if you start judging somebody because they got married on a plantation, when what you're trying to be doing, when what you're trying to do is, ascertain, assess in some way for your own purposes, whether or not Blake Lively is meritless or meritus in her claims, you're doing yourself and you're doing the case a disservice. It's just not the way to go about it, dude. Your personal opinions can't matter, And in order, like, I have no personal opinion about Blake Lively. I don't know her. I don't have any feelings for her. I don't follow her. I knew her. I knew her only as Leo's ex. That's how I knew her. Which isn't a good thing for me. Like, that's not like somebody I'm like dying to meet. Oh, I can't wait to meet Leo's ex. No, not for me. And if you don't know why, read the book behind me. It's called Too Real a Hollywood Memoir, because Leonardo DiCaprio fucked me over so hard, so huge, that I wrote a book about it. Kind of. Sort of. It's a good book. You should check it out. People love it. Sorry, I'm trying to find this document here about Sony's marketing.
Yeah, exactly. As a director, says No Two Trolls, a lot of his cast didn't feel safe, not just Blake Lively. And this is the critical thing, because a part of establishing, whether or not there's any credibility to someone like Blake Lively's claims is, a look at whether or not there was a hostile work environment. And there was a hostile work environment. We know that because if Alex Sachs, a woman, said that she felt physically threatened by Justin Baldoni in one single event, and she had other complaints as well. That alone shows that there is a hostile work environment. In no way, shape, or form is it ever going to be acceptable for one of your producers of your movie to feel unsafe by the director's actions. That's never going to be cool, dude. Never. And it's a terrible sign that, look, Ange Giannetti said, and this is the other thing about weighing all the evidence when you talk about getting all the sides. Well, read Ange Giannetti's deposition. Read the whole thing. It's fascinating. I keep referring to it because she's basically a hostile witness for Blake Lively. Because in the end, she was dissing Blake Lively. She was one of the people who called her a terrorist. Not to her face, because to her face, she called her a brilliant person, a brilliant blood, sweat, and tears and all this other shit. She poured on the compliments to her face because the studio, as I predicted before this release of all this evidence, is going to play both sides. They have no choice in this situation. They need to get the movie done. But Ange Giannetti's deposition is super fascinating because it breaks down everything in its reality, not in this fictional fucking sense of like whether like Justin's film by credit or the director's cut itself. She's the one who lays that out for everybody to get the clear picture of it. Justin was never going to have that privilege because few directors do. All right, it's 2:20. You want to call it?
Yeah, I'm still trying to find this. I know that it's in this document. The Wayfarer's timeline of relevant events. It was like a couple months ago that I was referencing this all the time when people were making the claim that Blake Lively was responsible for the Sony's marketing. And so I kept referencing it, and I had the page number memorized in this thing. Now I can't find it anymore.
Yeah. Well, it's been a while.
I know.
Splitness said, famously, anyone who got married on a plantation is immune to SH. It is known.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It is known.
You know what? That makes sense, though, now that you say that.
That's why people keep doing it. It's the same thing about that, like, she's not an employee. Ha ha, she's not an employee. She's a subtract. This is like, oh, so anybody who's not an employee, that literally means that every single movie star in Hollywood is subjected to, and you, by the way, like a buffet. It's like a buffet of SH. You can sexually harass every single actor in Hollywood that's in a main role.
All you have to do is make sure that they're signing on to a film that has sex in it.
Yeah.
And then
you can harass them.
game.
I don't even know you know, because they're well, I don't even think you need that because as you know, all main actors are going to work through a loan-out corporation, so they're all going to be contractors. So every single actor in Hollywood of any substance, in all the leads, they're all in loan-out corporations. Almost nobody there is getting paid through their social security number.
So they're all vulnerable.
So they're all not just vulnerable. It's free for all. Vulnerable, feast. Let's eat. Smack that ass.
Lemon Kate said,
What's up, Toots?
I actually liked It Ends With Us. Justin Baldoni was believable as Ryle. He has shark eyes.
Yeah, he did a good job. I thought he did a really good job. I thought he was stronger than I expected, frankly.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I had very low expectations, but not just because of this case, just in general. I go in with low expectations. So he exceeded them exceedingly. And I was impressed by him.
It is a great time
big giant
to
fumble.
be disappointed by movies.
It's just a big giant fumble by this guy. He fumbled everything. He fumbled a great acting career that he had obviously spent 20 years building. He fumbled an incredible opportunity as a tiny movie studio. He had great taste, man. He was putting out good stuff. People loved it, even if he did steal some of it from fucking dying people, you know. Anyway, you guys are so phenomenal. For those of you who stuck around, I hope you'll like the live and I hope you'll subscribe, even if we do disagree. I love you if you're coming to this live and you're disagreeing, but you're ready to get in the sandbox with us and just play and not take this fucking personally and not make this about you and me and not make this about you and anybody else in the chat. And if somebody in the chat says something that you feel offended by or whatever, let it roll off that shoulder of yours. You know, that's the strength. Let it roll off. Doesn't mean you can't bite back, but bite back with a smile because knowing that you're a reasonable human being and reasonable human beings, because reasonable human beings is what we're trying to attract, and that's why our numbers are down. Everyone's like, there's only 34 people. That's the only 34 good people in the world. That's how I look at it. All right, you guys, you're a fucking blast. We'll see you tomorrow night. We're going to read Justin Baldoni.
Yeah.
All right. And we're going to talk some shit probably, but we're going to read Justin Baldoni.
Yeah, I want to talk some shit. There's some current events. You know, aside from like the horrors.
Yeah, I want to talk about Kanye.
Aside from the horrors in the news, there's a lot we can still talk about.
I want to get through some of these. I got to get through these key jet depositions so we can get back, because I got a whole fucking tray of shit that I have not got to yet. So,
yeah,
man, we got some great content coming. That's all I got to say.
Okay.
So I hope you